Good day and welcome back to the Student StarCraft AI tournament. I thought I'd start out with the Terran theme, and it's so very beautiful. Today we've got Simon Prince. I know he's been working on his Protoss since forever, but I'd like to show him in his Terran glory against a Steamhammer, and Steamhammer of course is one of the forefathers of so many bots which have been based on it, so it's always interesting to see how it's going to play. Scouting drone will return, of course. This is a two-player map, so it's relatively quickly in finding the enemy. There's only one place you can go. And Simon Prince going for 2 Marines, and I hope there is more coming because there are quite a number of Zerglings on the way. And the first one just makes it out with a little bit of HP left. Oh, and there we go, 2 Zerglings powering through, and now it's up to this one, and these 2 are damaged. Luckily for Prince, there is no follow-up, so that's going to be a bit of bother. This one, oh, the Ling lives, and it's going to retreat. Now the SCVs are coming off the line, and I think... ooh, this one might just kick it. Nope. This one dies. Oh, and that one's still alive. And this one's coming back, has regained a little bit of HP, but will now be cut to pieces by the plasma cutters of the SCVs. So Simon Prince with a very early command center, worker-wise, is ahead, and army-wise is ahead by 6 times. So Steamhammer has got a bit of a problem coming up. Luckily for it, it has tacked up to Lair and is now going for a quick spire at the natural harvesting gas. Drone count is okay, might transfer a couple to the natural expansion. Simon Prince with these far out depots and the academy, perfect for harass, but you're also increasing your range of sight for your main base, and if you had something here and here, the sight range would be quite good. So I like that, and he's going for a bio build with Marines and Medics, which on the first sight seems like an ideal counter to Mutalisks. Mutalisks, will they have any upgrade? No, still nearly done for Terran. And army-wise, well, here come the first neuters, and let's see what they can do. Last week I criticized, or I wondered why all these bots just go straight for the main with attack route up to through the natural. But these muters seem to be going straight for the main base without visiting the natural where the entire army is. And then they are going to kill an SCV and probably a couple of Marines too, but the main army is coming as well. The only thing is that these medics will be sorely missed in a fight with muters, especially since there are already 5. And even though a couple of them are pestering this SCV and this one's taking the brunt of the damage, will be taking the brunt of the damage, these medics are really not all that into... oh god, these muters are targeting all the wrong units, and one is dying, another one is very low, and they didn't really get that much damage done. Are more muters coming? Yes, there are, but these are getting way too low, and ooh, these 2 just escape within a hair's breadth of their early demise. And these Marines, they haven't really been engaged, are so effective. Would be quite more effective with Stim and the medics present, but you can't have it all. Meanwhile, the muters are gathering, and it might be wise to cycle the hurt ones just to leave them over here for some time. And ooh, all the Marines have left. Another SCV is dying, but that's not really a problem. Oh, this is the problem. Oh god. Oh, these poor muters. Oh wait, let's do it at least at normal speed, otherwise it's going to... I already thought it was slowing down. So 2 eBays for Prince, and these muters are not going to be used as to attack into this. They keep their distance, which is good, but they don't really... they have picked a spot to attack and are going to pursue that. Marines are moving back, that's also stupid, but hey, what can you do? But a little bit better decision making on the part of these muters would be nice, because half a dozen of hit points lost on these eBays are not good enough. And these muters are taking way too many damage here. Oh god, they're getting so low. And then mulling about here on the edge of the base of Prince. And this is all damage wasted. If you sunk all this damage to these 2 eBays into the worker line, you would have done something. Could have taken a third now being taken. And it looks like no more No more mutas being built, or am I mistaken? I am not mistaken. You can see Steamhammer droning up, making a couple of lings. That's a good decision because the mutas aren't going to get anything done. It's still a bit of a wait for a bot that uses mutas to harass, because you could have taken out these depots. All the marines would have to walk much farther, and if they were here you could fly back to here, harass these workers there. And that's very hard to do. Now the death drain's on the way, and the mutas are going in to do damage to the starport, which is very important, because if you get a science vessel out, that's going to be nasty. Now finally they find the SCVs, but this is going to be the real problem, as there is only one sunken here, and 2 zerglings. Oh dear, that's good. And a quick hive, and all the mutas are here. So is this going to be a base raise? Well, perhaps, but I fear that this sunken will not be long for this world with the stim, and Simon Prince will be tearing it down, this time with the medics. And any more upgrades? No upgrades other than... no, +1 isn't even finished. So Steamhammer in a bit of a quandary. The main base of Terran looking desolate as well, but these mutas are so much weaker, and if we get any kind of Terran tech units up, it will be very hard for Zerg, and even if this is going to be a base raise, the damage potential for Terran is so much better. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And that's just a bad decision by Steamhammer. Need some kind of lurkers, or at least do something about the marines. These mutas can roam the base forever, but they are getting low. Simon Prince still has got some production capacity, and it looks like these mutas are wearing down faster than... yeah, there goes another one. So 3 mutas versus 2 fully mining bases, couple of marines, and the mutas will have to walk out. Now going to save the main, but yeah, what can you do against that? If you are 3 badly damaged mutas, well, you can do this, and you die. So Simon Prince still a force to be reckoned with. Steamhammer a little bit disappointing, could have done more, but doesn't really seem to be on point. Okay, well, of course it's hard, but Simon Prince, very stable Terran, and as we've seen from the Protoss, it's also very interesting. It can... oh, that was rebuilt. But the prioritization of the muta harass is just not good enough for Steamhammer, and Steamhammer could rebuild here, doesn't do so. Stuck on something, has got to... oh dear, but look at the war train. And Simon Prince just going to find all the bases, and I'm going to call the GG and get into the next game, which will be, big surprise, Tier Protoss versus Antigua. And Antigua has been pestering everyone with build orders which beat the #1 bot for a couple of weeks. Let's see how it's going to do all by itself. Now Tier Protoss is based on Tier Terran, by Simon Prince of course, but it's a little bit more aggressive and doesn't really macro as well as the Terran, but has got a very good grasp of the game, good timings, and that's a nice-ish, I'd say, setup. Lots of cannons, and more cannons coming. Now those will be needed, because this looks like some kind of a Dragoon timing. I see, oh, the cyber core's not spinning, so no range. But for the time being, yeah, you're not going to get up the ramp with 4 cannons. And Simon Prince's tier is going to do a 2-gate behind a couple of cannons. That's a really wacky build order. And Antigua, capitalizing on that, has got the worker advantage, has got the natural up. And Simon Prince isn't going to do anything too aggressive in the near future, so might just have made that decision. Going for lots of gas. What's the gas being spent on? At the moment, nothing really important. Worker count also sort of stable. That's strange, because you'd say there is a lot of money, and 10 more probes here would mean a hell of a lot of difference. And now it's 4 zealots and a bunch of cannons versus goons. And as long as Antigua refuses to make more workers, Tyr is catching up in workers. That's very strange. Oh, and losing a goon, that's bad. That's just not unexcusable. Now probe production remaining 4 and resuming 4 Antigua, going for some kind of tech. That looks like it's going to be something with the Reavers in it. And as long as he's camping the low ground, these zealots... oh, yeah, there are cannons up there. You shouldn't do that. Oh, God. How hard is it? The cannons are still there. And I bet this bunch of dragoons is trying to move up again in the near future. Simon Prince going for the goon range, which is good. Antigua has got that done, going for the plus... No, Tyr's going for the +1. And Antigua is going for a slow Reaver and an Observer, but he may be able to damage these cannons from the low ground, and then the goons will have to come out. But army-wise, Antigua is not in as good a position as he'd like to be. Worker count-wise, Tyr is doing pretty well, oversaturating the main. Of course, what can you do? But until this Reaver arrives, it's going to be hard fighting for Antigua. Antigua now with the second Reaver might do something with the shuttle, because again, it's all about attacking the main choke and just finding a path, trying to attack. Or of course you're going to defend here if the enemy's coming from here, but one shuttle drop up here, and with this heavily saturated probe line, 2 shots would be enough to kill them all, and that would be pretty impressive. Again, Goon is lost now. The Reaver is under attack because it's not protected. It dies without firing a shot. And micro-wise, I really have to castigate Antigua because that's just not good enough. And now the entire army is fleeing. Now the Reaver is coming to there, firing a couple of shots. But again, it's so sloppy. And Antigua, although he's got the superior army, is running and losing a lot of units while he runs. And that's not good. Now finally the Reaver getting a couple of shots off. But again, a Reaver is lost, and with an inferior army, Tyr is doing damage to a Reaver army. 3 Reavers have been killed. That's pretty dismal for Antigua. And Simon Prince's Tyr's problem is not going to be the lack of Reavers, or perhaps he might have 1 or 2 in the near future. But the problem is that the army is spent, and it's only 1 base, heavily oversaturated, at least double the amount of workers. Well, that's 40 workers on 1 base. That's quite enough. And Antigua is going for 1 more base. No more tech, just going to be all about units. And are more Reavers coming? Yep, 1 has found the main army already. But, oh, Simon Prince being a little bit brave, but with the horrendous micro of Antigua, he might just be able to secure the natural. Now the Reaver is in among the Zealots, and... oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, that's good. And now this Reaver seems to have found the guts to fight, and this army is gone. Absolutely gone. The natural's not going to be built. And Antigua's got the 3rd up with the, well, not really superior probe numbers, but yeah, and now going for these cannons. But it's such... I keep saying that it's rather silly to just attack through the ramp with a Reaver in front. Oh god. 1 Reaver round the back, boom boom, game over. So simple can it be. Or with a recall, land the army here, you evade the strong point and you can just do damage. And moving up a ramp while attacking is very hard, even if you have got a Reaver. Ooh, now the probes are coming off the line and this Reaver's having a field day. Ooh, and that's a nice shot, and that's another one, but that's a 3-shot Reaver, and ideally you'd like to get a little bit more purchase off your Reaver. Now, what have we here? We have just more gateways and more Reavers, which are walking. These 2 goons seem to... oh, they appear to be stuck. That's unfortunate. And a 4th base. So, macro-wise... oh, Tyr has snuck a base out here. Might as well, because the main is out, but army-wise it's 3 versus 51, and all the probes are falling hard. And although Antigua is struggling a little bit to get up the ramp, eventually he will be able to do so, because that's just 10 to 1 goons, and that's not fair. So, 5th base for Antigua. Antigua, macro-wise, very high up there. And the Reaver's still struggling to find the enemy base. Or not to find it, but to reach it. But might do something clever with shuttles or some kind of mobility unit. Might do some Templars. But macro-wise, it's just good. Look at all these gateways, and it's just powering through. It's got a lot of gas, and that's why it might make some Templars, some Archons. It's just mining gas from all the bases, it seems, and not really spending it aside from goons and a couple of Reavers. Going for another base. Good morning. That's macro for you. Probe transfer working very well, and the main base looking like this. So Antigua doing pretty okay. Next. Oh god, that's a coincidence. As for a theme this week, I don't really have one. I said to myself, well, I'm just wondering what's up with everyone, so I took a wide gamut of replays with all the players I'd like to see. If I forget one or two, I am terribly sorry, because there are just so many players and so many active players, and one of the problems with that is that it's very hard to actually get a game with lower ranked players. As you can see in the leaderboard, it's Crazio on top with a winning percentage of 84%, then Iron, and then the rest. So Crazio and Iron are really dividing the spoils of war between them. You can also see that in the ELO, they are about equal. And then it's more than a 100-point drop towards the rest. TSCMU's out there, Purple Wave's out there, Steamhammer's up there. But between Steamhammer and TSCMU, that's another almost 100 points. And then Killerbot, McRae. So it's very hard to get a game. And it's been ages since I've seen Andrew Smith play, or Flash, or Tranchik, or Black Crow, and all the other ones. They just don't get a chance to play with all the voting which has been going on. Oh, let's get back to the game. And that's perhaps something we should focus on, because the number of bots is still growing. More bots are added nearly every week. And we've got a new one, Brian Weber, which we'll be showing, I'll be showing later. And Simon Prince going again for this wall off. I think if you are going to do that, build it here with the, well, not with the bridges necessarily, because that's a map specific feature, but you can take your natural and it's just a probes right away, and then you've got 2 bases secured. Now Hannes Bredberg, of course, is the nuke bot, and with the interesting scouting pattern. Oh, hello. I don't know, and if you look at the minimap, they are dithering a little bit. But it's going to try and nuke the enemy, and if Simon Prince is going to play as passively as this, it might just well get a chance to land a couple of nukes. Another base being taken at the other end of the map, and just going to be an endless stream of Marines. Are we going to see any medics? Doesn't look like it. It's going to be 26 Marines versus whatever Gateway army there will be there. And that's 1, 2, 3 barracks, and now all the Marines have found it. Oh god, there is a nice defensive position, but you can see there is a lot of Marines engaging the Protoss army momentarily. They don't dare to make it up there. And if that sounds bad, it isn't really for Bredberg, because this is just excess minerals it's spending, and army supply wise it's doing okay. It should be careful that this Protoss army doesn't get down the ramp, but as long as it gets a lot of units up, oh nice scan on the observer, it's going eventually to have more barracks, more production capacity, more barracks in the natural or in the 3rd base here as well. And it's going, ooh, nice concave, and let's take that at normal speed. This concave is pretty well done with the scan as well, and these goons, as soon as they come down, oh what? No, please, you can't fight goons, you are with much more. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, that's not good. These Marines run from the Dragoons, although they are in vastly superior numbers. Hopefully there is some mechanism that will force them to fight at home, otherwise this game will be over very quickly. And, yep, there we go. Lots of tech buildings, might take a 3rd base, but these Dragoons will have to be dealt with, and all these Marines, all they are doing is run. And that's just very sad. And Simon Prince is gathering up the next wave, but it might be just enough with these goons. And these Marines don't dare do anything, these don't dare do anything. And the Marines here at the back don't do... oh god. And that's just sad. So, I was wondering how Bredberg was doing, well, doing like this. And Tyr is getting some reinforcements from the rear. These Marines are trapped, they are not fighting at all. And the army supply for Bredberg is dwindling. It's attacking too hard, it's expanding a lot, but if you're not fighting goons, if you're playing a Protoss with the Gateway army, it's not going to work, is it? I will shut down this carnage momentarily, because it's just not appetizing to my taste. Good. We have got DATAs, and that's an acronym of 3 people working on that. It's from the Technical University of Denmark, I believe. Let's... yeah, no, it's mixed. Where can I see any more? No. Have we a school project? So it's a school project, and the people will have graduated by now, so There you go. And the opponent is Niels Justensen, which has got some neural nets but hasn't been able to upload them because it's 400 megabytes and there wasn't really room for that on the server, but Michael was looking into that if that would be at all possible. Ooh, slow down boy. And now we've got two zealots making their way over and Data's going for a couple of cannons, and we saw earlier with Simon Prince's tier that that's quite a good decision because you get a little bit of extra firepower, although you're also going to need to bring your zealots over. Although, yeah, with one cannon, I hope this is going to be another cannon, just for safety's sake. And yep, there we go. So two cannons, a little bit of tech. I like this build. And Niels Justensen is going for some kind of aggressive gateway thing with, I think this is going to be a rover facility. And now going to try its luck with two zealots and two goons. But by this time there will be, oh I hope, oh god, are they going to be, they are not going to be Dark Templars, are there? That's always a good choice. You've got to not die to the enemy in the meanwhile. And Niels Justensen is going to put on some pressure and looks like to be going for Dark Templars himself. And here comes the first Dark Templar. Oh, there is another. Yeah, there you go. And now, oh, one stuck. That's unfortunate. It's a race to... Oh, there is another cannon here too. And we'll be seeing Dark Templars from Justensen too momentarily. But there will be a lot of damage done by these two DTs. And this poor zealot doesn't really understand. And these goons are going to be chased just as well, because you're not really going to do anything here, and the main is secured by these two cannons. So for the time being, I'd say that Daedus is in a good position. What now can these... Oh, if there are 5 Dark Templars, they can rush that cannon and dispatch it, because it's got not that many hit points. But the Dark Templar are stuck. Oh, there is one here. Oh, that's cute. They try to... they sort of see it, but they can't target it. And that's because these bots have been granted the ability to see, in quotation marks, cloaked units, but they can't attack it, just like you can as a human see and observe and move from time to time, just because it creates ripples. And now these Dark Templars are trying to target one another, but they can't really see one another. That's just a clusterfuck about to happen. And Justensen going for... Oh... Yeah, that's not really working, is it? And we are going to see more cannons and more Dark Templars and +1 and whatnot. And I think the same's happening at the other end of the map. So I'm going to speed it up just a notch. And of course the non-Templar units can spot each other and they're going to kill each other. And because Daedus has got the advantage, I think Daedus is going to soak up any non-Dark Templar gateway units going to be produced. More units coming up. Oh, a Reaver, that's good, because a Reaver does splash damage, and if you target a Zealot adjacent to a Dark Templar... Oh, that's going to be good. Will it fire, though? How many? We've got 2 Dark Templars by Justensen. Oh, here it comes. There it comes! Oh, yeah, you see, these ones are going to be damaged, and all the units are still trying to target. Oh! Target the DTs. Oh, you've got to fire! Fire, fire! Oh, and it dies. Okay, well, this game is absolutely marvelous. And I do think that either the Dark Templar mechanic should be changed a little bit, because you can't really target a unit which you can't see. You could follow it, or are these all move commands being spammed? I don't know. Neither bot is oh god, well, this is Dark Templar into carriers, or arbiters, or whatever. It's going to be interesting to see, but for the time being, it's a bit of a standoff, and another Reaver, but I think it's... oh god, it's targeting the Dark Templars as well, or it has no scarabs. I don't know, and the Dark Templars of Daedus are just going to have their way with... Oh god. I'm going to be curious what we'll see. Yeah, a carrier, oh god. And has it got interceptors? Yeah, well, at least one. And it's going to fall to the cannon, because it's targeting God knows what. Okay, well, this still happens, and this is one of the reasons I find it sad that these newer bots aren't playing... Hey, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. What was that? There is an army here. And what's happening? Is the Reaver going to clean everything up? Reaver! Reaver, 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 Reaver. Yeah, sort of. Now the Reaver dies and we are still there. Oh god. Meanwhile the carrier has died again. Units stuck here. Base nearly mined out. Base nearly mined out here too. No new bases coming up. And oh what? Wait. We've got a carrier here and the rest of the army is moving back. For reasons, but there are so many goons and the carrier is stupid so it dies. Now will another base be taken? Because Niels Justensen has got the superior army. And Daedus has got a lot of money but isn't really building anything. And there are observers now for Justensen, so perhaps that's the reason these DTs moved back to base and now are hugging the Nexus. Both bots really could do with an expansion or with some kind of aggressive thing. This base is down, this one will be nearly mined out. And oh yep, that's the expansion for Justensen, and Justensen has got, or at least 2 observers I think, but everyone's flipping and mulling about, so that won't do you any good. But army wise it's 60 versus 10 and 32 times the speed really comes in handy. 46, 128 times the speed. And yeah, that's the game. And Justensen caps out at 98 supply. And okay, GG! No, I don't want that. I thought I'd show you what's going on in the number 1 and 2 positions. I don't do things chronologically, I hope. I've got a lot of other bots, and Crazio and Iron I think are not going to be featured anymore. So that's good. Now Crazio going for the barracks first, couple of marines chasing the SCV scout for a bit, and then chasing it from the base. Very good. And Iron going for the very quick factory, and will doubtlessly see a vulture or more. Now Crazio camping the high ground, no bunker, that's really surprising. Oops, that's a bit quick. And Iron now with the repairs, Crazio without the repairs, and besides you can't really repair marines on the high ground, and that's a good decision. Although the marine dies and Crazio's not as repairing as, oh god, as not repairing as actively as Iron is. It's got a Goliath out now, it's going to have a raid soon, so it will be pretty safe for the time being. And that's really the game between Iron and Crazio. It's both are aggressive, both are harassy. Crazio still a little bit more defensive, going for the higher tech units, for Goliaths, tanks, and of course raids. Iron is going for raids because he wants to harass, and going for the blood. And Crazio now with 1 more Goliath and no turrets, and that might really be a boon to Crazio. Just put 1, 2, 3 turrets out here so you won't get harassed as much by these SCVs. Iron's got the map, mining up all the bases, mining up the entire path of Crazio's army, and has got the contain going. This is not a... If I were Crazio, I would not deem this a safe position for a natural, while Iron at this time can expand. And this Wraith is taking a little bit of damage. Ooh, was very lucky to get away with all of its hit points, or all of its life intact. All of its hit points, of course, are gone. And Crazio pushing back the vultures and taking the natural. That's very well done. Iron really reluctant with the natural, going to do a lot with 1 base. That's, I'd say, very interesting. Crazio now with the turret, with the tank, and might do some turrets here as well, just to be safe, because Iron is so good in poking and trying to find a gap in the defenses. Of course, he doesn't really strike hard, but it's a distraction, and you've got to deal with it. Otherwise, use units or defensive structures. You've got to do something, and if you aren't, you also in danger of having units run back and forth trying to defend, getting some other priority, moving back to defend. And now Iron moving out of harm's way. That's very well done. That's very impressive, because most bots take a couple of hits by these... oh, that was a neutral critter, I believe. Iron going for the expansion as well. But most players take a couple of hits from siege tanks, but Iron immediately moves out of harm's way and is not going to get any hurt from these tanks. Now Crazio, yeah, that's very well done, and this takes care of that position, and the workers are sort of safe, so it's okay, but it's not as good as it could have been. And you can see that this Wraith, it just keeps trying, and it will find a spot here or there where it can hurt something. And Iron is now, Crazio is trying to push. That's really surprising. And it's, Iron is just veering back and forth. That's so beautiful to watch. Ooh, and this Wraith taking a lot of damage, but it's, Iron is such a master in moving away before death occurs, and these units are pretty low. There is no SCV to repair, and has got some tanks of its own. So for the time being, Crazio is sort of contained, and these tanks are in a good position. Now Iron's going to siege up as well, and Crazio is going for the push, but there is a small army here, and of course there is a turret, but these vultures can attack the turret if this tank moves out of position. It's going to be messy, but Crazio for now has, I feel, got the upper hand, because although Iron's got the higher supply, that's all in army, not in workers. That's a very low saturation for 2 bases. Of course more workers are being built as we speak, and Iron could take all these bases. Crazio going for a badly placed third, okay, but I like it nevertheless. And these vultures are going to be caught by the Wraiths, and the Wraiths don't kill it, and that's a big problem, because Iron's unit you've got to kill, and if they're in a pocket like this, you've got to, like a drift net, move up on them and put them against the wall and execute them, because otherwise they're just going to come back to harass you some more. And now we've got a bit of a stalemate at the bridges. Iron with the turrets is a bit better with the turrets than Crazio, I feel, just planting them every once in a while to get some, spend some money, but automatically getting some protection. And this tank is in a good position, this tank moving up, but tanks are too slow and these vultures just move out of the way. You've got to sweep up on them. Ooh, and this tank, ooh, is very lucky again to get out unscathed. And Iron really could do with a worker or two to repair that. Crazio this time better with the repair. And all the SCVs of Irons are behind the pushing lines and not with the expeditionary forces. But still, there is a badly damaged Wraith and a badly damaged Vulture here, so you can't really let up your guard here. Crazio now with the third operational, that's very good. And Crazio, ooh, this Vulture, one shot. Ooh, and Iron with all these units badly damaged, but contests this position for Crazio, and that I think is the important point, because Crazio now has got to move all the way around and the repair, and with the turret that would be safe. But Iron's problem is that Crazio's got the higher tech army, larger army supply, larger worker count, and a third base. So now Crazio is going to push, and if he can contest these bridges, Iron is going to be hard pressed to move out its reinforcements, and Crazio's got the reinforcements to contain the expeditionary forces of Iron here at the bridges. That is very well done. Oh dear, how beautiful. And we hear some sieging going on. This contain, killing some units finally, and this Vulture being very brave and paying the price. And I've got to close the curtain because the sun's coming up and I don't see a thing anymore. Moment. So, sorry about that, but it would be awfully nice if I could actually see what's happening. Iron still stuck on 2 bases, Crazio pushing and trying to siege down these containing forces of Iron. But this mine is up, the turret is up, Iron sort of keeping tabs on this base here. Crazio not even bothering with these mines anymore, just going to place a command center at an unfavorable position because he's got the worker lead, he's got the army count. He's got in the natural a factory, has got the army supply, but this is not really an ideal situation because these tanks are going to come through here and They're just trying to move in all kinds of ways, and you've got to keep your pathways clear a little bit. But it's going to be 4 versus 2 bases. The army supply is already in favor of Crazio. The bridges are camped, and the main is mining out for iron. That's going to be a problem. Crazio, of course, is going to mine out a little bit sooner. Has had the SCV count higher than most of the game. But the army is getting stuck on the natural, and ideally, if you are going to build more factories, you could perhaps build them here, or out there over here, build them here, 1 or 2, and just disperse it a little bit, because it's still too much focus on the natural. But Crazio really turreting up heavily. Unfortunately, well, with the turrets back in the rear, that's sort of covered. You could come in through here. It's not really fully covered, but for now, I'd say this game is going to go to Crazio. Iron still here. This Wraith comes help to defend that turret. But these units are just going to take damage, and Crazio is going to feed units down the line to help and defend everything. And again, a command center just placed pretty wrong. That's, well, I could devise another solution for that. Just start out with the turrets here, and then the SCV can kill the mine and build a command center. And you've got a turret as well for all those pesky wraiths flying by. Now Crazio going for the contain. And it's really starved on gas. That's strange. 3 SCVs here. That's mineral only. And 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 here, but it's far away. But taking a 5th base, so that will all be okay in the long run. And nice scan, but you're also going to have to shoot these. Yeah, there it goes. So, going to speed it up just a notch, because by now the main for Crazio's out already. Crazio's got 4 bases. Iron's main is out too, has only got 1 base. So that's, oh, taking a 3rd, that's brave, and Crazio might do something about that, is now actually doing so. But Iron, with a couple of raids, is defending pretty well, and as there are only vultures to harass, I think that Iron could get this base up if it could get an SCV out, and I don't think that's really possible at this point. Hasn't got a dropship, and now the vultures are all over it. So, ooh, Crazio coming around the back, very well done, but the minerals are still there, so no chance. But Iron with only a natural, you can see the supply differences way out of control. Crazio, what a machine. All the bases, almost all the bases taken. That's 75 workers. I'd say that's about the max in a TVT when you're maxed. Might do something a little bit more decisive about breaking contains like these, with dropships, with nukes, with battle cruisers. But basically, if you've got 90 minutes to win a game, that's going to be okay. The danger is that you're just going to lose excessive hit points and units at things like this. And Iron's got a pretty good defense position. These tanks are relatively untouched, taking some hits. Oh, once in a while one dies, but Crazio could just drop a couple here, or do something with battle cruisers, or I don't know, that's a silo. The capabilities are there, but Crazio is just not using them. Going instead for the boa constrictor approach, just build a lot of units and slowly but very surely kill the enemy. And Iron is defending well with the high ground, with the siege tanks being pushed back every once in a while, a centimeter at a time, but in the end it's not going to work. Crazio taking another base, and another base, might take the natural too if Iron's not careful. And with the tanks, oh, we've got a battle cruiser finally, but it's a little bit late as there are no more defenders really. 2 battle cruisers, couple of turrets. And you can see how powerful these battle cruisers are. And that is the GG. Oh, the ghosts have arrived too, and Crazio has not taken the natural. So that's how it goes, Crazio over Iron. And let's hop into the next game. I'll keep it on 8 times the speed for a little bit, because all this mineral being mined kind of stuff is not really worth reporting. It's TSMU Zerg versus McRave, and McRave, the Macro Protoss, versus the Harassy Containi, and just outright brilliant TSMU Zerg. TSMU going for a quick expansion, handful of Zerglings which are going after the scouting SCV, and even TSMU can't really dispatch with that quickly. And now the fight is on, because we've got another scouting probe and quite a bit of Zerglings by TSMU. Of course, 3 cannons by McRave is quite enough. Grave with a quick expansion before the gateway. I think that's a good decision. Forge fast expand, we see that a lot in PvZ, and as long as decision making is based on killing scouting probes. Oh, but that's pretty well done by TCMU. Let's have a look at that again. Where is it? So now they are chasing the probe. Chasing the probe with far too many friends, but if you are going to deny scouting information, they enter this base, and one branch is going to go this way, and the other ones are going to go that way, trying to predict sort of where that probe is going, and that is a point of brilliance for TSMU. Will we have link speed? We'll have link speed soon, so these scouting probes will not pose as much of a problem as they used to. And with a Zealot, I think even versus this many... Where are they going? Versus this many Zerglings, you're in quite a good position. And TSMU taking losses, wavering, moving in and out, losing 2 Zerglings. Well, that's not too high a price to pay. And McGrave immediately slapping down 2 more cannons, and I really like that, because that just shows the adaptiveness of your AI. If you are seeing a lot of Zerglings, you're not going to be overrun. You've only got 1 gateway. Well, until this one is up. Just put down 2 more cannons, perhaps a pylon here for some extra hit points, and now all the workers... Oh god, there is a... Yeah, well, that's silly to try and push through a lot of Zerglings. TCMU going for the in-base 3rd hatchery for the lair, and meanwhile quite a lot of Zerglings. McGrave by this time might have snuck a worker out, and that's always a very good thing to do, just to have a worker on the map, not just to send him straight to the enemy, but keep him here or keep him there, and just have him in reserve to take a hidden expansion should the need arise. But of course that's pretty high level sneakiness, which these AIs have not yet reached, and humans don't always do either, almost never do actually. And again, all the Zerglings are moving back to try and deny scouting information, but it's too late really. And again, some are going through here, and with the speed of course they can do quite well. Lair is done, lots of hatcheries are done. Are we going to see more upgrades? We're going to see lurkers, and well, that's about it. Range for McGrave is done, and McGrave, well, you've got to be careful with TSMU, because if you let him run away with that, of course his army size is small and so many Zerglings, but TSMU might have taken another base. 2 Sunkens, that's atypical for TSMU, I would say. But if there's going to be a lurker push, and if you see a den with a lair, TSMU could be a little bit more careful about who enters his base or not. And McGrave scouting out the nearest expansion. TSMU taking a 3rd, a little bit removed, transferring workers, that's very good. He's got the map control, and McGrave now going to take a 3rd as well in the direction of TSMU. This scouting probe must die, it cannot see the workers or the base, otherwise it would know. And both players are posturing a little bit for map control, with McGrave having the very superior army. TSMU with the weapons upgrade, and is now going... Oh, it's not going for lurkers after all, it's going for muters. And that's a good decision, because there are only 3 goons, and then you'd have map control. The cannons are here. Oh, and 2 more there. That's a little bit overdoing it. Perhaps McGrave has gotten wind of the muters. Oh, well, it will have now. And again, it's the scouting probe taking the brunt of the anger of TSMU. We've got 4 muters now. Have we got more in production? Yep, we've got more. So these goons had better beware. 1 more goon is coming, and more goons should be produced. But TSMU could really do something about shutting this kind of stuff down. Likewise, McGrave could do something about shutting that down. But it's very interesting to see that these bots are not always keeping tabs on the enemy, because it's hard to do. You need code, and you need CPU power and units. And Terran can't just burrow a spider mine everywhere. TSMU now with the muters, but they are again doing the concave thing, and they might be more decisive, because it's only 4 goons, and you might easily do something about that. Starport is done. I will fear there will be Corsair soon too. That's going to be some kind of tech, which will be interesting to see. TSMU now on 3 bases, and I don't think it's really aggressive enough, because as a Zerg you've got to be on top of things, and you can't let Protoss army double your army size and just poke a little bit. That's not going to do it at all. 4th base for TSMU, and in the long run, of course, you're going to overwhelm your enemy, but by the time that happens, there will be a huge 60-70 supply army at your natural, and you've only got Zerglings and Mutas to stop it. So these Mutas should band together, kill all the goons, and then kill all the Zealots. But by now there are a lot of goons, so yeah, you can't just let your... Oh, and now some Hydras too. So the composition for TSMU, I would say, is okay. If that 4th gets up, that would be a stroke of luck. And now the Mutas should really focus on the goons, because if you take down the goons, these Zealots are sitting meat for the Hydras and the Mutas. And the Hydras are doing such a lot of damage. That's really going out of control. McRave had a 70 supply army, but 30 has been damaged or killed already. That's a bit of a euphemism, damaged for dead. And now these goons are under attack by the Hydras with the Mutas. Lurkers are coming, the 4th base is up, and McRave, I feel, has missed his timing. A little bit. TSMU going way out of control, worker-wise is equal, army supply is 2.5 times that of McRave. Now we'll be getting some kind of... Oh, Dark Templars are always nice to have, hopefully, and 2 Corsairs, but the Corsairs weren't with the main army, and this Mutaflock is going to pick up a couple of goons before... No, they flee from the cannons and the Corsairs, and now it's the Dark Templars. TSMU, of course, has got Overlords. Have they got speed? Yep, looks like it. So but still they're going to take a considerable time to... Oh, one's arrived already. So these Dark Templar are not going to be long for this world. Lurkers have arrived, and that's going to be a problem, because there isn't even a robo facility for McRave. So McRave has only got this detection and no kind of mobile detection. That's going to be a major bother. Get down! Oh, hello, it's only 2 Corsairs, you can kill those. Yeah, that's a bad idea. Okay. Okay, I don't really see what this is about. The main army of TSMU is here, flapping about. And this Lurker could just burrow, but why would you do that? TSMU taking... Oh, there we go. That's how you take an expansion. And now the Lurker getting down with the air forces, with the Hydras. Going to be quite enough. Hydra on the high ground is taking fewer shots from these goons. And you can see, although McRave had a bit of a revivification, the army supply is getting to respectable heights to go toe-to-toe with TSMU. But these, oh god, these Corsairs are doing quite well, but now are going to die. And hey, the Lurker died, it must have been unburrowed. But the mutant numbers are getting out of control, and oh, this one's going to die as well, I fear. So TSMU going to be in a good position. Oh, hello. Oh, did anyone see a hatchery? Oh god. And TSMU will have Ultras and Defilers soon too, so that's not really going to work. Lurker Micro, a little bit bad. A little bit bad, very bad. But, well, it's not really a fair competition anymore at this point, because for McRave the main is out, and although there is a little bit of tech, there are observers somewhere, must be. And the 3rd is up and mining, the natural still got some juice in it. TSMU is going to pull all the stops, got 80 workers, got another base, got a lot of hatcheries, and that's really overdoing it in my view, but if he needs those, he will need those. With the Archon, I think versus Muta is pretty good, and versus Zerglings as well, but you can see that McRave is trying to find a way to beat this huge contain, and TSMU every once in a while it feels it's strong enough, it's going to pounce, take a couple of units, trade a couple of units. This Archon isn't really fighting, it's trying to run, and that's, well, it's not really quick enough, or it's pretty quick as units go, but TSMU is just going to kill it in the end, I fear. And as a Protoss you've got to put your composition together and put them to work. You have to fight. If you're not going to fight, it's a lost cause anyway. And TSMU has now found this base, or found it, he knew about it, but is going to attack it. And there is one cannon, and the lurkers are moving up, the lings are moving up as well. The cannon is still untouched, but the real problem is the workers dying, and the buildings taking damage. The army getting a few stragglers cut off here and there, and McGrave has got a respectable army, he's got 90 supply, it can't push, but TSMU is just soaking it up in the distance, and these zealots are not going to make it back alive, I feel. More lurkers being built, TSMU has got all the bases, and if you look at the minimap, it's just going to be a huge concave. This one cannon is really not being engaged. Oh, that's a nice storm. Oh, hello, good morning to you, sir. And that's perhaps what McRae needs, but still it's 50 versus 70, and these two Templar are out. Oh, and we've got the swarm, we've got the lurkers, and yeah, that Reaver's going to have to fight pretty well to stop all that. Oh, that storm misses, that's unfortunate, but with the Reaver I feel McRae still can do something with the storms. Where are there going to be more Templar? This Overlord taking a peek at all the bases, and TSMU only hasn't taken this base. This one's been taken as well, and now with 90 workers, TSMU is just going to put on the pressure. That is just going to be a death train of swarms, and it's only to be hoped there will be enough units left to do the damage. This Archon is trying to fight for its life, and there is a Reaver, but the Reaver's over the high ground, so it can't be unloaded. A couple of meters overhead, and you can see there are actually very few Zerg units, and it's all going to be a blanket of swarms. TSMU very methodically, and of course more units are coming, so that's not really the problem. Oh, this base also hasn't been taken, it has been raised by TSMU. So as long as in the rear these Defiler, oh, there is only one Defiler actually, but this is the work of one Defiler. Oh no, there are two, three now. So 3 Defilers, and TSMU is creating a lot of pollution. The EPA might be on its tail soon, but oh god, is he going to lose one more unit to anything else than a Defiler at this moment? I don't know. The Reaver is still over the cliff, so not doing any good there. The Forge is still standing. TSMU is sort of maxed. And oh god, look at that, all the larvae. So after 3 minutes he could instantly remax on larvae and bank alone. No Greater Spire, that might be something to work on. Defiler mount here. There is no Ultra Cavern, I believe, but if your enemy base looks like this, and oh, the swarms are abating a little bit, understandable, and of course, oh, that's a swarm missed. There is an Overlord, but yeah, oh, poor DT, that really is the game. McRave hasn't got money. Oh, that's a good shot. One more good shot for good measure. Oh, that's a very good one. One more. Reba! Oh, no, unfortunately it dies. And TSMU with the Commissar Defilers. That's just 3 Defilers and a... Well, it's basically the map and 3 Defilers versus a 3-base operation. But that was the game. I say GG to TSMU and McRave. Thank you for the fight, but... no cigar this time. Maracadec vs Antigua, and I was lucky to get this game from a replay because, as I said, lots and lots of players are, coders are voting, and other people as well, I myself included, for good matchups to show on screen, and you're going to have problems with the with the lower bots getting a couple of games in, so that's unfortunate. So I was lucky to get a Maracadec versus Antigua match, and yeah, well, a little bit faster, nothing's happening, a little bit of scouting going on, and Antigua is roving the map for no good reason, and Cadec with 1 vulture, but should enough forces to repel this gateway army expansion for Antigua. And I really wonder what the purpose is of these Dragoons, and these Goons are now coming to shove. But there is siege mode and the bio army with the medics, so... This is a very brave attack by these Goons, and the tank is a little bit far in the rear, some damage may be done. So perhaps with the economic advantage that Protoss will soon have, it will have been worth it. But, oh, the Marines are going to fall, and if Kadek isn't very careful, he might be just killed outright here. The tank now on the high ground, one more support unit. There is no repair, and that's... oh, repair! No, it lives, it lives! The units are trying to protect the tank, but it doesn't really survive, and now the battle is on, and these vultures are no match, of course, for these goons. And Antigua is not reinforcing this push. So if the... oh, there is one more tank. That's always good. The tank isn't really positioned very well. Ideal might be here with a couple of units in position here. And now it will fire one blast and die again. That's unfortunate. Antigua not really... what's it doing with its money? Can't really see producing units. Okay, so it had a bit of an infrastructure thing going. Oh, and another tank just... oh, no! Keep it siege! Arr! And Marikadik with 2 tanks now has, I think, held the base. That is 2 factories with a machine shop. That's pretty well done. And these poor goons are not going to go up the ramp with 2 tanks there. That's just not going to happen. And in time, of course, there will be more goons. So, I'd say a good time for Antigua to take another base. Because it's got map controls, got the enemy there, and Kadek immediately upon exiting his base, taking the expansion. That's pretty well done. The fire bats, well, have you ever seen fire bats versus goons? Yeah, well, you have now. And with the tank, so Marikadik is organizing some breathing room for itself. Should not pursue this goon army too far. One dies, but I think you can't really trade. Oh dear. This tank is too ballsy. Or, yeah, well, we had a couple of tanks before that. It's not really the same tank, and they are not really protected or repaired, and that's the difference between these newer bots and these older bots. The older bots are much more Stalinistic in their approach to using combat units, just throwing them away and keeping them exposed, not repairing them. Of course, there is a medic for these bio units. Ooh, and that's... ooh, God, that's pretty well done by Kadek, or badly done by Antigua. Antigua with the suspect combat micro we saw earlier versus Tier Protoss, now going for 2 more bases, and of course the gateways are there for... oh, that's a nice wave, nice timing, all finished at the same time. But Kadek, of course, will have the advantage of siege tanks, and if he gets a critical mass up of those, as a Protoss, you'll need some good micro to deal with that, and that's just the area where Antigua has shown it could do with a little bit of work. Now these tanks unsiege a little bit too much for my taste, but you can see how much, oh god, no, how much damage they do. But they need to be supported properly, and right now I can't see Kadek getting up the numbers ever again to contest the Terran. Now there are goons in the natural mineral line, and as there are 4 bases up on the other end of the map with dispersed gateways, I like that. That's a nice touch. Just because if you get cliffed here or contained by tanks, you've got some production outside the base, and you can just spend your money on units instead of buildings, and it can also be done pretty much instantly, and you won't have to wait before the new gateways finish. And Kadek is trying to do what it can, but I think it's just economically too far behind. The natural will be under attack. The Reaver is going to exact its toll on these poor workers. 2 tanks on the high ground, but it's only 2 tanks. And this time the combat micro of Antigua is pretty on point. Goons die, but trade for a tank. The natural has been shut down, and a 5th base being taken. Have we got more tech? Worker transfer might be worth a bit of attention, because that might be a lot of income here, and well, that's about 10. But that's the game. GG! Lucas Moravec versus Chasinguk, and I'm now going to speed up the initial stages even more, because this broadcast is really going to be pretty long. It's pretty long already. And oh well, that's a bit too fast. And we see a scouting probe arrive, and Lucas Moravec is going for a deadly probe. A very deadly probe, and we've got 0 Marines, and just a moving Marines at this point is not going to work versus Zealots, because this Zealot has now killed 3 Marines, and there are 3 Zealots, and that, I believe, is the game. I don't know why the gas is so important to them. But it seems that Lucas Moravec, with the aggressive build now, 3 gates, couple of pylons, is going to make this work. And Chasenguk, unfortunately, didn't throw up a bunker, didn't suspect the Zealot pressure, and that's something that Protoss could still do, because a good 2 gate is still very, very deadly, leave alone a... oh. Okay, well that's an interesting build order. Unfortunately, the main base looks like this, and I fear that Lucas is going to tech behind this. Work production has continued, so it's not an all-in, it's just a very good pressure build. And that's something that Protoss could do, because Zealots are so cheap, they are so quickly built, and they can do this to the enemy pretty quickly. Now Chasenguk is in this nasty position. Will this base be found? He has the ability to restart. I like that. And yeah, there is some tech for Lucas Moravec. Lucas moving back to base, and now appears to be going for a scout. Which direction will he take? Oh, counter-clockwise. So he will... No, it's not here either. Is it here? Nope. And that's really unfortunate if you're going to scout with your entire army. Of course, Chasenguk has been put back to the Stone Age and has got an army supply of 2, which is mainly 1 Vulture. And of course, a Vulture does pretty well versus Zealots, but a Vulture does not do pretty well versus this many Zealots. And... oh, that's another base. Will be found eventually. Is Chasenguk going to win this? That would be really amazing. And there is a Wraith fighting an Archon. So Lucas has got some work to do. 2 SCVs here. And this base is doing pretty well. More Wraiths coming. And this army is all about Zealots. And there is 1 Vulture trying to out-micro the army of Zealots. And this Archon is fighting a Cloaked Wraith. So that's not really going to work. But the Cloaked Wraith will have to take a while before it can finish off an Archon or... Protoss building. But this is interesting because Lucas Moravec's army is mulling about, and Chasenguk is rebuilding a base here, has got the base here. It's well 76 versus 4 army supply. This base still isn't up, but this every time there is a harassment attempt here, or harassment, the entire army is coming back to help, and the Wraiths have got cloaks, so this is the army of Lucas Moravec. Is really unfortunate. They are going for this base though, so for this corner of the map, so perhaps they will find it. And the Vulture dies again, and this is really wacky. Just going to speed it up because this Protoss army has it finally, yeah, it's found what has been the main base. And they got such a lot of firepower or blade power in these Zealots that they're going to dispatch this Protoss army pretty quickly. The Wraith overhead and the Vulture are trying to do what they can, but what can they do? Oh, well, actually, they can do pretty well. Although the Wraith is gone, there are some mines here, and the tank is sieging up this base over here, doing a lot of damage. And of course, there is a base up there. What the... This Wraith, I would really like to know how many kills it's got. The Vultures with the tank are demolishing the natural. The main, of course, is out. There are 2 High Templars. There are some goons. So I don't really understand why Chasenguk is still in this. And the Zealots are coming back to take apart these buildings. And... Cha is producing here. It's not producing units from... oh well, it's producing from the factory now. And the tank seems to have sniffed it. The Wraith is still there, another Wraith is still there, and the Vultures are still there as well. Oh, that's a cannon. And they try to move out of the way. So that's unfortunate. This is an Observer, which is good. And these Vultures are really taking their toll on these poor Zealots. And the Observer comes to oversee the destruction of the army. That, I believe, is a cannon. Yeah, and will the Vultures now attack it? They will try to. They do attack the goons, that's good. and they are now in sufficient numbers to attack these cannons, but they are taking some losses. So I'd say that Moravec is not out of this yet. Trying to rebuild another cannon. The ideal place would be here to have a front. And Chasenguk has taken another base. I think that Terran might still win this. Comsat nearly done. More Wraiths coming up. More Vultures coming up. This is absolutely marvelous. This factory is still here despite all the battle it's seen. And now with the tank re-entering the front area. The cannon's going down. I don't know what's in that shuttle. But we'll see momentarily. Oh, that's pretty good. Ooh, this might be ugly. And this might just be... oh... drop it. And the Wraith is trying to, well, kill the shuttle first. That's a good way to start. And then kill the Reaver. And the Reaver might have gotten a little bit more purchase, but good defense with the Wraith. But there are tanks in the natural now. And the income for Lucas Moravec is gone. It's got some money. It's got an Archon and a Goon, which are stuck. And Chasenguk with the rebuild in 2 or 3 instances is going to take this game. Great Mother of God, what a game. Okay, so this Archon's still stuck, and I'm going to call the GG. Next game, we have got TSEMU Zerg versus Alien, or I'm just going to call it Alien because Alien doesn't really sound like a word. And Alien is known for its sublime Zergling harass. So going to see how this ZVZ is going to pan out. And that is the first contained by TSEMU. We're also going to have a look at the worker count. It's 10 versus 9. That's another hatchery for Alien. And TSEMU has got the contain but can't really break these 2 Sunkens, which are pretty defensive and pretty far away, but have the advantage that they also cover this part of the mineral line. This could be damaged, but I don't know if TSEMU's surrounding and harass is that good. TSEMU going, I think, for another base. And then we'll have a contain with a 2 versus 1 base situation on our hand. And 2 Sunkens which haven't done anything. Let's look at the upgrades. TSEMU's got speed nearly done and no speed for Alien. So Alien hasn't even got the gas. Got another hatchery. So there will be a point, I believe, with Alien having the superior worker count as well. It's got more larvae at the moment, so it can have a small economic advantage, or a decent economic advantage over the early game. But the problem is going to be TSEMU, what's it going to do? And what kind of tech are we going to see? That's another hatchery. So TSEMU realizes it needs another hatchery. And now let's look at the worker counts. TSEMU feels it can't really win that, and it's 9 versus 8.5. And the larvae advantage is in favor of Alien. And TSEMU really needs a sunken colony here, I feel, or it's going to be overrun. It's got 9 versus 10.5 workers. Of course, it's got the army advantage, but this small portion of unfortunate. It's fighting pretty well though, and that's really strange. But I thought that all the workers are here and TSEMU's done a run by. So for now, Alien is distracted, going for the gas. Has got 3 hatcheries and 2 Sunkens, which are finally getting to into range of the enemy. And now it's 8 versus 6 army supply, but TSEMU has got the workers going here and it's got the worker advantage. Will now have an economical advantage as well, has got 2 Zerglings over here. And I feel that TSEMU with the speed is still the only one with the speed. And I think in Zergling versus Zergling battles, that's pretty important. Now TSEMU has not got the army supply, has got the supply advantage by a pretty minimal margin. Has got the lair, and oh dear, if there's going to be any kind of lurker or muter, this game is over. And Alien should go for perhaps 1 or 2 more drones and just build. It's waiting to build a hatchery, looks like, because it's got the money. It's got more money actually, and it's not using it. And TSEMU is going to defend here. The armies are equal, and you can see at the supply counter, because the battlefield is pretty messy, You can see with the supply counter that it is TSMU pushing back the enemy with the speed, and of course if you are running versus a Zergling army with speed, if you haven't got speed yourself, you are going to lose, and that should be a consideration. And Alien is not producing units at this moment. That's a bad decision. TSMU is running away with this. The drone count is almost double, and that's not good. Oh, Alien snuck out the expansion in the middle, and now with the Sunkens, perhaps some kind of defense could be organized. The big problem though is that it will take a while before this lair is finished, and TSMU putting on the pressure. All the Lings are dead, and now they're just ignoring the Sunkens, are going for the workers, and this game is over. You can see the worker supply 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. 0 workers left for Alien. Now they are going for the defensive structures. They will fail, but what a commitment by TSMU, and Alien has got exactly 0 money left. It didn't cancel an egg, it didn't cancel the lair, and now it is 0 money, and oh, it could cancel this base still, but it hasn't done so. So if it won't, it will fail, because TSMU's got the bigger armies, got the speed, and the last remaining Zerglings of Alien are going to fall. That's very unfortunate. Alien had a bit of a timing, could still cancel this hatchery, doesn't look like it's going to do so. TSMU taking a third, having now secured the lair, no tech at all, just going for Lings and going for more money. Perhaps it will need, or it thinks it needs, another hatchery. Has it built one? Yep, it's built one here. But now these poor Sunkens are all over, and TSMU just flooding in the Lings. Alien had a timing, didn't use it. That is the GG. Next game is Lucas Moravec versus Zer. And Zer I haven't seen play in ages. Hasn't been voted enough, so I thought, well, let's have a good game with Zer. Zer is a master of ZVZ, so let's see how it's going to do. Oh, that's pretty ballsy. Nice gas steal, only 1 probe attacking it. So this will delay, and that's exactly what you are doing. This will delay the Protoss build order by a considerable amount. It should cancel and rebuild. No, and it dies. So it might take it again. But if you are going to do a 1 gate, and you can see Lucas Moravec's build order is way out of whack. It has got 800 minerals, no gas being taken. So this might have stalled the build order of Lucas indefinitely. And Lucas just going for the same number of probes, 15 probes, no units at all, and Zer out of BM is just sitting back, building a couple of Hydras at home, taking no expansion and just letting the money stack up for Lucas Moravec. Here comes the Hydra army, and as there is nothing here, I fear that this is going to be over. Nice gas steal into the GG, and GG! And next game, it's Alien versus Sparks. And well, Alien's gotten an update, so I thought let's show a couple of games of Alien. And Sparks has been okay, has been improving, so I thought, well, why not? And let's have a quick glance at how many games we've got. Oh god, we've got such a lot of games. It's going to be a long broadcast, and it will be a little bit, yeah, well, I hope someone can help me publish it, because I won't make the... We've got a specific time on Sunday where we will have to upload this replay, and I tried to make it, and I had almost made it, but this is going to be a long broadcast. But the games are just so good, and I really like my decision. Compliments to yourself. Give yourself a hand to take a couple of games of the less known AIs, because they are just so at times adoring, at times absolutely stupid, and at times they are pretty good, and they keep surprising me with all the things they can do. So yeah, there we go. So nice army being built by Sparks, expansion being taken by Alien, and this mech army, you can see value-wise it's 24 versus 7, and this is 3 Hydras and a bunch of Lings, so this is not going to do anything at all versus this Terran army. The Terran army is going to push, and that's the Sparks play bio-mech combo. And oh dear, it's 24 versus 4. Lots of mines being wasted here, and a third base coming up for... Oh, that's Sunken doing work. The tanks are not there yet, So the sunken might save the day if a couple of more Hydras, but now the tanks are in range with the siege mode. And there are no more combat units for Zerg, and I think that this push has just done it. Not a total all-in. Sparks upgrading to another base, but I think with the tank and the range, that's going to be the GG, and Alien will have to play very hard. Of course, the third's nearly finished, and it's got 2 hatcheries, but it will need some good play to do something about these tanks, which are still supported by a couple of vultures. More tanks being pushed over. But with a well-placed timing attack by Zerg, it might still work. But the Lings would have to come in now and do a decisive run by. Units. Go, 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 go. You've got to go. You can't hide around this sunken. Now there are mines up, which will make it increasingly harder. But the Lings just sat back, and these tanks are basically unprotected. If you run a couple of Lings in with the mines, you might blow them up. And this drone isn't doing anything either. It's attacking mines. Yeah, well, that's not going to get the job done. Third is up-ish, but decisions are wrong by Alien. They've got to, even if you can't win, you've got to trade to buy time. And you saw when these Lings hit, they dragged the mine over. But I fear for the time being, this is over, and Sparks has beaten Alien. Sparks now with the natural up. More factories, and army supply with 31 versus 0. Main looks like this, and I can't really see a bot of Dan's not finishing this off in style. With the tanks, with the vultures, and they only need to find this base. Oh, there is no more money, yeah. GG! And I thought, well, let's have a very good PvP. I saw a good game of bwapi, and have I got that? I haven't got that. A very good game of bwapi versus Crazio, where it actually beat Crazio. And that was very impressive. So I thought, well, let's have a game between, I think, 2 of the best PvP players, perhaps with Purple Wave in there as well. Dan is working very hard on Purple Wave, so I'd be hard-pressed to say which of Purple Wave, bwapi or McRave was better at the moment. And it's a pity I can't have them play 1 versus 1 versus 1. But here we go. The game's afoot, and the first Zealots are in the base of McRaves. But with the shield battery and the defender's advantage, McRave is going to power through, now with a goon as well. And pardon the speed, but this cast is getting way out of control. These games are too good, and I'd like to hear myself talk too much, I fear. Oh, the goon is out there, way out there. It's a hipster goon, but it's going to be a dead goon if it isn't very careful. Range is coming up, but the sheer force of numbers is with bwapi, and bwapi with 4... Oh, now you're in territory where you can do damage. These goons are microing pretty well though, and although a couple of workers are being killed, if these goon numbers exceed about 3 or 4, they can be instant killers against loose zealots like these. And you can see all the other loose zealots are moving back to base and camping the high ground. Now bwapi will be in for a bit of a oh god. That's how you do it. Not take a base, just tech and build units. But these goons can out-micro zealots pretty well. And as you will see momentarily, this goon has been damaged a little bit, and the zealots are just falling one by one. And there is a cannon up, range is coming, but it might well be too late for bwapi, because McRave is putting on the pressure now with the low versus high ground, and, well, of course, the numerical advantage. But, oh, this cannon is getting good damage done. That's unfortunate that this pylon seems so important that the one goon having a spot on the ramp is going to attack it. And bwapi is saving the day only just barely. And the range is finished. A couple of more gates coming up. And now trying to push back with the zealots. And the goon numbers for McRave aren't as good anymore as they were. A couple of them are damaged. And of course, if the enemy has got some goons, it's increasingly harder to fight them, like compared to pure goon versus pure zealot. Of course, the big problem is for bwapi that McRave's gotten this base up. And bwapi has taken a base, but it will need to hold on at the bridges, rely on its micro, but that's one thing that bwapi does excellently. It keeps its units together pretty well, and look at this. although the army advantage is not there for bwapi, bwapi is actually pushing McRave back by means of superior grouping and micro. It has a better grasp of how many units it's got, how many units can bring to bear to the enemy, and now there is some extra firepower in the camp of McRave, and of course the naturals up a little bit sooner. 2 cannons plopped out. Well, this should be the other way around, but hey, what the hey. And now the Reaver is there for McRave. So McRave this time again putting on the pressure, but in the advanced guard these zealots are taking a pummeling, and that's unfortunate for the zealots. It's pretty good news for the goons of bwapi, which are doing pretty well, all things considered. And with their range, but they fear the Reaver, and as well they should. But if these goon numbers are going to grow, and perhaps a tech unit 1 or 2 for bwapi, ooh, that's going to be the big fight. And now this army of bwapi is running, and there is a shuttle too for McRave, and that's also going to be dangerous because the shuttle can be dropped, and if the shuttle gets dropped, ooh, if the shuttle gets dropped, well, it's got the Reaver will die too, and that's, oh, the shuttle micro Reaver is bad, but luckily for McRave, the Reaver is on the ground. Ooh, and the Reaver dies, a nice hit there, but I feel that bwapi is somehow still in this game because it's got the superior combat micro, and although the 3rd base is up for McRave, and McRave has got more Reavers coming, I feel for the mid-game confident for bwapi. bwapi's got a Reaver of its own, will need some goons though, and will need a 3rd pretty quick. That's going to be a pylon. Let's take stock of the upgrades. We have got a range, and bwapi's got observer, speed and sight range. What the hell? Of course that's a priority if you are a lot of supply down. Well, not really that much, but if you are a base down, that's surely not going to be a priority to build your observer upgrades, is it? That said, I am not a coder myself, so I can't really judge, but it seems a little outrageous for me. And that's going to be the 3rd for bwapi. So bwapi making the correct decisions. That's pretty well done. Couple of cannons in the base, and I like that because these bases are by these cannons protected for run-bys. Couple of zealots, couple of DTs, couple of vultures, couple of zergnies that just can't get in anymore. And now the siege is on. McRave's got the army advantage and has got a very ballsy Reaver. Gets off, oh, a shot, that's pretty well done, and a lot of goons, and there are a lot of zealots in the army of bwapi. So bwapi is going to be put under pressure, is going to have to sacrifice zealots to touch the goons or the Reaver, and the Reaver can just do some suppressing fire from the rear. But I think these goons can't really make their way across the bridges. These Reavers are firing a shot. Ooh, and those are very heavy hits. I'd be very wary as a Dragoon to, yeah, let's over the top, over the bridge, yeah. Beep, don't do that. There, plunge, and blue soup, but, sorry about that. 4th base being taken by McRave, and McRave really grasping the nettle and is trying to expand its advantage. You can see it's got a worker advantage, it's got an army advantage. This position is very hard to take. These Reaver Scarabs try to dud, and if they target a unit which was subsequently killed, it will dud automatically. So it's a hard position to take. And of course we'll have Storm soon too. Oh wow. Storm's nearly finished for... Ooh, that was a good one. That was a very good one. Oh, and I like how bwapi just ignores the minerals which have not got 8 minerals in them. Might get some building space that way. And this shuttle over the cliff, that's still something that people have got to work on. Oh, and bwapi doing pretty well. No, this one duds. But now there are 2. Oh, that's a very good one. Oh, and this storm just doesn't make it. One more storm left. Will it hit? Where is it? And... oh, yeah, that's a good one. And the Reaver dies. So for the time being, if it gets unclusterfucked at the bridges with the Reaver and with the Archon and with another Archon and a couple of goons, it will be okay. But this stupid Archon chooses this place to morph, and this Reaver is in a precarious position. This Reaver! Oh, that was... oh, well, not full damage, but hit quite a few. This one was a good hit, but it's going to suffer, and it dies. And now McRave is in a good position. Double the army supply, double the bases, because this base is out, that base is out. Oh no, it's a 3 versus 2 base, so it's not that bad. But McRave is pushing its advantage. It's pushing the advantage, and it's just the storms that are supposed to keep Bereaver into this game, but it's very hard going. And what the hell? Oh, and that's another one. But now finally there is an observer coming too, and the observer dies, and that's about 20 goons now being free for the the Western Front. And we saw how that went versus in the Second World War. If you lose at the Eastern Front, if that gets unstuck, all the forces from the Eastern Front will move to the Western Front, and it doesn't end well from there. Now McRave going for the push, trading, trying to gain the bridges. The bridges are hard defended by the forces of Bereaver, but the army supply is just not there. It's 24 versus more than 100, 20 versus 100. Rebuilding a little bit, a storm, but the Reavers are there for McRave. And now Dark Templars 2 doing the damage, and that is, I think, the game. The worker supply is in favor of McRave. The army supply is 10 times as much, and another base taken. This base being nearly out, and that is the game. In the Clash of Titans in PvP, McRave takes a game of Bereaver. GG! Next game, new player, it's Brian Weber, and Brian Weber makes some claims about his bot. Let's have them. Oh well, let's pause it for a moment, because if it's going to do a 4-pool or something like that, we won't find it. And there is a short description, and it is macroeconomic models. Turns the parameters by simple learning algorithm. Okay, so it's a standalone piece of art. Yep, that's still playing. And it does some learning, so that's also good to see. And by this game we'll have some kind of a baseline reading. Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting place to take an expansion and mining out this natural stuff. And now we've got 2 Zerglings in from Garmbot, and that's unfortunate, because the Zerglings of Weber are not there yet at all. The workers are defending quite properly, but yes, and Weber wins. It is unfortunate though that it mined out these minerals here, because Garmbot took a base here and will be feeding in minerals through here and through here. And of course with a sunken you might easily defend that building, that area, but Garmbot has got its second base under construction already. And Garm has got quite a number of workers already too, and these workers don't really know what to do with the distance, so they move back, or it is a planned third to get some sunkens up by this choke, and then I'd say it's a very good play, because this sunken is going to do pretty well, and these lings will have the time of their lives out on the map, fighting against the sporadic influxes of Zerglings of Garmbots. Now Garmbot's third base is up, and the game, I would say, is afoot. Long distance mining going on, burrow being done by Garmbot, of course we know that, and I really like to know wherefore Brian Weber needs 2 evos. I hope it hasn't caught a touch of the, what's it called, the Casia bot disease, which builds easily up to 20. I've seen it do 20 evos and then die because it didn't build anything else anymore. Garm going for a lair, meanwhile filtering in a couple of links from here, a couple of links from there, and the Hydra too. Unfortunate, because there are now 2 sunken, so there is a decent sunken defense. Hydra den being built, and this drone is going. Oh hello! I really wonder what. And do these lings? Yeah, they now see it and they're now going for it. So the first attempt, I feel, was to take control of these of the ramps, and the second one is a badly placed attempt to mine from here. We'll see how that goes. If the ling doesn't tear it down, that is. This base is going to be lost for Garmbot, but of course Garm has got 2 more bases, so that's not as bad as it seems. And this hatchery might be under attack for just a little bit too long. And going for the eggs, that's not a wise decision. Prioritization of targeting is not really sublime. Oh, and this drone. Oh, and finally this one Zergen gets taken down. And more Lings are coming to help to kill the egg. And a couple of them also take a couple of nabs at this hatchery, so that's going to be the GG. Now we have basically messy situation, but the worker numbers for Brian Weber are quite decent. And this is going to be a lair. That's an interesting setup. Of course, long distance mining can bring you a lot of good. So let's see how that goes. And that's going to be... Oh, we got Burrow. Oh, we got the +1 and the speed for Brian Weber. And we've got the lair, the spire for Garnbot. But the Ling numbers are getting out of control, and if they were to find the enemy base, and I think they will find one eventually, or they'll stay on the low ground. Yeah, they have found one now, and they are going to tear it down too. So Brian Weber doing for the moment okay. It's a little bit sprawly, and the building placement could be a little bit better, but I feel for the time being it's doing as well as could be expected from a new bot. And I like the standalone approach, which will result in a very different patterns of play. And yeah, that's very interesting, because not only will it have its own weaknesses, it will have its own strengths in time, or it will have its own strengths already. Oh, the lurker egg gets killed. This drone doesn't really have a job, and now how will it deal with the sunken? It will sort of, you can see it will attack multiple targets at once, tear down this base in record speed, have a little bit of a heavy focus on eggs, but the damage is there, and another base is taken down for Garn. Garn being reduced to one base. We'll try to take one more, and Brian Weber can't really keep its money down because hasn't got enough hatcheries. Hatcheries is the word. Hey, that was pretty good by myself. And Overlords 2, I think that is with speed. Yeah, we've got Overlord speed. Oh, in production, so it's not finished yet. What's that? Oh, sorry. Pause it. Resources, worker, army size. Oh, we've got a nice diagram. Oh, that's brilliant. Let's see. So this is, I think, per player. Minerals 1, gas 1. Oh, you can see. Well, of course, these are the minerals of Brian Weber's, being way too high. And now the fight is on, but there is a look, one more shot! Oh, and it dies, but with the sunken, I feel that Garnbot might just hold this, even though it will cost it a queen's nest. And the worker count for Brian Weber is getting out of control. We've got 51 workers, all long distance mining through here, through there, and oh, well, pretty well done. Might take another base. Garnbot has taken another base, and although, oh, the queen's nest is still alive, that's pretty good. A unit retreating, that's also good. Retreating micro is a good thing to see in a bot built from scrap. And yeah, I'd say that Garnbot is still in this. If it can get some lurker action up, or perhaps some muta play, it might be in a very decent position. The problem though is that there is a small contingent of, or rather large contingent of Hydra Ling approaching, and this lurker I feel will never be born. And this base has been spotted. Brian Weber's army is getting way out of control. No more tech for the time being, no more bases. Oh, finally! And these drones are trying to return minerals to an unfinished hatchery. That's very cute. The new second base for Garnbot is down. This mineral field is getting low. We've got a lurker. That's good. Nice position at the ramp. But I fear that there will be, I hope at least, for the sake of Brian Weber, that there will be an Overlord soon. Where is the Overlord? Is there an Overlord? Doesn't look like there is. Oh, and the stupid lurker unburrowed in full face of the enemy. That was very unfortunate, and it will unburrow now again. And... ooh. finally. I really... This lurker is the hero of this story. And the lings! Oh, and it just gets down right on time. This drone and these lings are very aggressive. And this lurker is trying with the burrow trick, trying to do its most in damage. And it dies. Ah, that's unfortunate. These overlords weren't really on top. And now the large army, ooh, and Brian Weber pulling the stops, taking 2 more bases, having quite a good worker saturation for a base which is not long distance mining. It costs a couple of screens. More hatcheries. Might also build more units. He's got quite a bit of money, but the enemy is dead. So if this sunken dies, and it probably will die, I call GG. Very well done by Brian Weber. Have we got more? We've got one more, but first a game of TSEMU Terran versus Killerbot. And Killerbot is one of these bots which don't really get a lot of playing time either, because, well, they haven't been updated, and by now you know who they will beat and who they will not. And that's basically why I took a game versus TSEMU, because TSEMU can do something completely brilliant and can do something pretty astoundingly silly as well. So we're just going to have to wait and see. Killerbot going for a quick expansion with another hatchery, not going to be out of larvae this game. And TSEMU going for a quick factory with a quick vulture exiting the base. And these Zerglings have to be very, very careful. If not, they are going to be very, very dead. And the workers are going to move out, and TSEMU is going to have its way. Sunken is quite well placed though, so that's good. And there will be Hydras too. But the problem is that TSEMU, you look at it, you can see he's going to surround the enemy, and these Zerglings are not going to get anything done. A couple of workers might even be killed, and if this... No, that doesn't look like a sunken colony. These vultures, they will find a weak spot, and it surprises me that this one isn't trying to veer around here to try and do damage there. This drone is very brave, but it lives, and that's going to be a sunken. But by this time, TSEMU's got the natural up, and Killerbot, I believe, is going to do either Hydra or Lurker. Will have a lot of its sap bled by the time. Ooh, and these vultures are very brave, and I don't think they can win this fight. But perhaps they're just going for damage to get this sunken down as low as it can. And Killerbot immediately transferring a couple of workers, going for the tech, has got the lair up. Got some sunkens over here, and I feel that that is a bit of a miss-hit. Now we've got 2 mutas out, but TSEMU has had ages to prepare. It's got a bunker up, it's got a lot of bio, and these mutas will have the... Whoa, they'll have a hard time. TSEMU, nothing much in way of defense at the back, and these mutas are going to... Yeah, they found an easy target, which they will be able to pick off, and that's always a good thing. So it's not much by itself to pick off an SCV, but it's a little bit of map control for TSEMU, and it's 50 minerals and a worker, and now they have found the main base, so that's good. And they disrupt the construction. Of course there are medics, and they kill the SCV, but at a loss of 2/3 of the hit points. And oh, this one dies, and it's just too greedy, killing SCVs, and man, you gotta get out of there. Oh, too late. Well, okay, well, sorry. And these lings are not getting anything done versus these vultures. So TSEMU in a pretty good position, worker-wise ahead, army-wise 5 times ahead. Has got the compositions, got the upgrades, got the scanners ready, got the factories constructing, and found the 3rd base of Killerbot, and now it's going to... Oh, that's a good service of this medic, and 3 vultures are immediately going to try and tear down this hatchery. Lings are out, a lurker is out, and they're going to save the hatchery, but at the cost of a lot of time and a lot of hit points already. And the lurkers, of course, will be able to shut down leapfrogging like this these vultures. These vultures might just get out alive because they are pretty quick, and they can find all sorts of angles to not suffer too much damage. And this worker is going to live. And these lurkers are just not fast enough for this one vulture. That's pretty impressive. And ideally you just have to burrow them at the ramp, keep them there, and try to secure this base with Sunkens or Zerglings or anything else. But just keep this choke safe, because otherwise these vultures are going to run back in, and that's not what you want at all. Sunken is up now, protecting this gas at least. TSMU hasn't taken another base, but ooh, the lurkers and the scans are out. The scans are out. That's unfortunate, because that means that these lurkers are going to do a lot of damage in the SCV transfer to this tank. Ooh, and that's the scan right on top. But Killerbot, I feel, is some sort of back into the game. It's not that bad a position it's in now. It's got 47 workers, that's quite a lot. It's got a bit of an army, and although TSMU's got the upgrades and has got a third base, almost, Killerbot's got this base sort of fortified. And with another hatchery, that's not more fortified, but you've got more production capabilities. And now the battle is on for map control, basically, and Killerbot trying with 2 muters and 2 lurkers to do what it can. Problem is going to be that these scans are going to increase, with a 3rd scanner will be operational soon, and even a science vessel. So now you're basically trying to stop a full-blown Terran invasion with a 5-ish army supply, and that's not going to work. And of course more units are coming over, but these vultures have found a way into the Zerg base again, and these the concept of keeping your base clean is not really there at this moment. So the worker train is moving back, because this area obviously isn't safe. This vulture is picking apart lings, and Zerg really should muster some forces. You can't really rely on harass if the enemy is that big. And yep, lurkers are pretty good against micro. TSMU a little bit sloppy there, letting oh god! That's a pretty good fight now with the tank. And oh, one more, and now with the science vessel. So this is basically over. A couple of medics are going to bite the dust, because TSMU is a little bit hesitant, but there is a tank there and all, and it's just going to take its sweet time and blast these poor lurkers out of the ground, and they don't like it there. So these workers are still hesitating to see if it's safe to come there. And TSMU with 4 bases is getting out of control. The lurkers are being persecuted left and right. A couple of more science vessels might be nice to have, but all in all, I think this science vessel is keeping close tabs on this lurker, and this lurker is going to live for the time being. But you can see the problem for Killerbot. Even if you have got the high ground, TSMU's got too much stuff. The army supply is 10 times that of the Zerg, and although this base is sort of, there is a queen's nest, the worker supply is still okay-ish. Killerbot is trying to tech too hard, and TSMU is just going to run away with this. Going to take its sweet time to siege up the 3rd base, and although these marines are pretty low and going to fall one by one to this Sunken, and this lurker will have something to say as well, it's doubtful it's ever going to come to grip with the Terrans, because the Terran has got just too many comsats at this point. And although they're being expanded quite liberally, there is also a science vessel somewhere, and TSMU, oh, the science vessel is here, is attacking this base at once, and oh, these 2 bases at once, I should say. This Zergling force is doing quite well, was doing quite well, is doing quite well still, but the problem remains that Killerbot has got an army supply of 5 and TSMU's got 120. The natural is depopulated and under attack. We've got Valkyries, we've got science vessels, we got everything, and I'm going to call the GG. GG! Next game, Gearbot versus Ironbot, and Ironbot is, well, the number 2, should put up a good fight against Gearbot, and Gearbot is not for no reason the number 3 at CIG last year. It's pretty good, so let's see what it can do. It's going to take down a scouting vulture of Irons, that's pretty well done. and it's got the Zergling speed. Vulture speed will be done momentarily. And Iron, oh, I like this. This is a pretty good wall off. I applaud you, Mr. Igor Dimitrievich, for that beautiful, beautiful wall. And if only, it is just not going to lift if there are enemies outside, it seems, so that's unfortunate. But then again, you've got some ranged units and these links will wear down eventually. Scouting Vulture will be persecuted and not killed probably. And Geobot going for... oh no, Geobot didn't take third place, that was overkill. But Geobot is the bot by Charsenguk, Zergbot, which is pretty good. So let's see what it's going to do. It's pretty safe, this Vulture. Ooh, just makes it out, and these Vultures are so deadly versus Zerglings, that's just unfair. It's a 2 versus 2 base. The gate is open, and Iron will probably try to contain the Zerg. Yep, the tank is there, the Sunken is there, and Geobot was not decisive enough. Got some good confrontations with Zerglings, but couldn't handle the wall. And if you can't handle the wall, you're going to apparently die. Oh no, that's a Spider-Mine. I thought perhaps that was another base. But Zerg is now losing workers. And although there is another Sunken being constructed, it's 13 versus 40 workers. I think I'm going to call the GG. It might not be premature, surely. No. GG. Next, Purple Wave versus Alien. And that's more of a tribute to Purple Wave. I felt I really need to have a Purple Wave game in there. And Alien was a nice opponent to show you its strength. I think they're about evenly matched. And both have been have received a couple of updates since I last saw a game of these two. So it will be interesting to see for me as well how this game is going to unfold. But lots of games of Alien, and well, the excuse for this game is that I wanted to see Purple Wave. Purple Wave going for a Forge Fast Expand without cannons, that's pretty ballsy, but if you've got a Scouting Probe and if you know that the spawning pool isn't up yet, you can get by without cannons. Now the spawning pool is done, and will there now be cannons? Now there will be cannons, so that's a decent timing by Purple Wave, and no Scout is coming to go in this base. And I think that is something that these bots sometimes underestimate, how important it is to not reveal your build order to the enemy, and this Scouting Probe is not being allowed entrance to this base. Third base being taken by Alien, very good, very aggressive, and I don't know what the congregation at the power generator is about, but we'll soon find out. Hopefully. So, lots of Zealots for Purple Wave, a good decision. Handful of Zerglings, for the moment a standoff. 2 versus 3 bases is okay. Nice extra 2 in-base hatcheries for Alien. I'd like to see that. And some Hydras as well. So, basically what you get in Zerg versus Protoss, Zerglings are going to be out first, and they beat any kind of non-military unit, so probes. And then you get Zealots, which beat Zerglings, and then you get Hydras, which beat Zealots, and then you get Goons, and then it will all be down to micro, because you'll have 2 melee units, Zerglings and Zealots, and 2 range units, Hydras and Goons. Upgrades, tactics and numbers will come into play there. And if I'm not mistaken, that's the +1 upgrade, which will mean a Zealot can kill an unupgraded Zergling in 2 instead of 3 hits, adding about 50% to its productivity. Zerg going for the upgrade for Lurkers and Overlord speed, so perhaps we'll get some kind of a drop. And a 4th base, and I like that, because... oh, I don't really know what's about this stupid power generator. The Zerg seems to love it very much, at the cost of, well, it's still got some kind of map dominance. And this Corsair, oh, the Corsair spots the Lurker, that's pretty well done. And it loses a lot of hit points, that's not so well done. And of course the Lurkers can't really, oh well, they can contest the Zealots, but they can't really get anything done versus these 3 cannons unless they are in perfect tandem with the rest of the army. And are we going to see that now, or is it just going to be contained? Oh, and there are 4 Corsairs, and look at all the Overlords falling. Alien is not supply blocked yet, but it will be soon, good heavens above. It's good that it has Overlord speed and a lot of Hydras, otherwise it would be in a dire position. And look at the Corsair numbers. How many we've got 2 Stargates with Corsairs. That's pretty well done. Of course, you'll only need that many Corsairs, and if your map dominance is lacking, but it might force a couple of spores out of Alien. It should, because you can't really afford, and now all the Corsairs are back at home. I think that's a mistake. But perhaps with if they have got this disruption web thing, which I only saw Roman Danielis use, the bot from 2013, which is pretty slow, but use a disruption web. If you use disruption web wisely with Storm, with Reavers, Zerg armies aren't really worth a lot anymore. And these lurkers are doing way too much damage to the Zealots. Good heavens above. And this Observer should really keep over the battlefield, because Protoss is in a good spot, but I think the Observer moving back and forth is not really in the Protoss interest, has not been in the Protoss interest. And now Zerg is unsupply stuck again. Protoss has snuck a probe out, took a third, just as well, and this is still going on. I don't know what that's about, but Alien has taken the map and is everywhere. It's got tabs on all the bases except this one. And again, this neutral power generator is some kind of host to some kind of flash mob. I don't know what it is about. So we've got the lair, we've got some kind of tech. Army supply wise, Alien 26, that's very puny, and I don't know what's up with these power generators. I really don't. And this Overlord has now seen this almost nicely defended third base. And this game is getting way out of control. Purple Wave still building Corsairs. That's a lot of Corsairs, but they are only mulling about here, not doing much. And the Zerg armies are congregating. These power generators aren't interesting, it seems, or air units don't really comply. And the Scourge. Oh dear, the Scourge are pretty well split. This one dies, but the Noble Corsair army is almost gone. And we've got a carrier. That's an orthodox decision to go one carrier versus Zerg, who's got the map. And the this one ran, the other one didn't, so natural selection there for you. Only a big bother that these Corsairs don't reproduce. They are being built from Stargates, and if the Stargates don't learn, the Corsairs will remain as stupid. Now Alien taking all the bases, putting all the stops, and it's really unfortunate that it's doing something at these power generators. It could have overrun the Protoss ages ago, but we've got some army here and some army there, and there isn't that much army anyway. Of course, there are now 2 carriers, and I'd really like to see Purple Wave bring it back from here. But even with these 2 armies stuck at the power generators, I cannot imagine Alien not winning this game anymore. There are Mutas, there are Scourge, there are Hydras, and although the Scourge movement isn't optimal, well, the third is up for Purple Wave. So Purple Wave not out of this, could take this base, could go this way of the map, and if more units decided to get stuck at these power generators. But the mutant numbers, good morning. You need some kind of AoE damage, area of effect, that you can harm all these mutants at once. This carrier is very brave, but the Scourge will take it, and this power generator keeps an interesting... But look at the army production of Alien. Hello, that was one batch of Zerglings, and more Zerglings are coming in from every direction. The Zealots, though, having found this base, take it for Purple Wave. So Purple Wave's not out of this yet. Alien taking another base, well, that's okay. Oh, and overrunning is natural, that might be a slight bother. So take one base, lose one base, but you can't lose your natural versus one of the 10 bases Zerg's got. And Alien taking down natural in style. The main is out, third is up, and this base is not under attack. It's not really being taken, and that might be... This might be one of the silliest thing I've seen. And the Ultra is also interested by the power generator, and the other one as well. So this Zerg push isn't really as strong as it could have been, but with a 104 versus 38 army supply, A disruption web! Haha! Seen it! Purple Wave is actually doing it. Unfortunately, there is nothing underneath it, and the Protoss army is in no shape to fight off the Zerg anymore. Alien reclaiming this base, pretty well done, and is maxed. Oh god! And there is 30 army supply here and 10 there, but the rest of the army supply is in neuters and is overrunning the natural. So good luck, have fun. Yeah, another disruption web, but I fear that's not really of much use to Protoss anymore. Third base is operational with 4 and the Stargate, pretty interesting, and I'm still wondering what this is about. And Zerg, looking by the number of reinforcements, is doing quite well. And what may happen is that these units here at the natural are slowly killed off by Protoss, and all the other units are... oh god, there is a group stuck here as well. Will be stuck all across the map, and then Purple Wave might still take this. Strange as it seems, the natural is still there, there is no money in it. Oh, a couple of Ultras are coming off to help and fight. Of course, they do a lot of damage, a couple of gateway units, and I think that Alien is trading favorably. The problem though is that these army are getting stuck at the power generators. And look at... even though there is a bit of a meat grinder going on with lots of units being lost for Alien, look at how quickly these Corsairs melt neuters. They take some damage as well. And Alien, keeping its supply maxed despite losing so many units, has got so much money in the bank. And yeah, well, what's this? What's being built? God, it's producing 10 Ultras at a time. That's pretty interesting. Okay, so Alien somehow timed out of this game, or left the game. You can see on the minimap it's light blue. So, by some technicality, Purple Wave won this. I must say, I really like to play with Alien, and I like the disruption web by Purple Wave. So, let's have another go. I needed to see a game of KZBot because it has received a couple of updates. It used to get stuck on building 20 evos and no more units, so let's see how it's going to fare this time. Its basic build is interesting. It did a lot of lurkers at the time I saw it, and going for a pool first, not an expansion first, which is rather unorthodox, but basically what you would expect from a Zerg who's going to do a one base all in. And these first 6 Zerglings are just for a bit of map control, a bit of scouting. And Purple Spirit is going to build... oh, that's a very nice concave. I applaud you, sir. And what is going to come next? That's the big question. No more Marines, lots of money in the bank. Might build 2 factories. Is it trying to build a command center? If it's going to build a command center, it's very brave. But now more Marines will be built, so I think that's the correct decision. As the lair is done, first Hydras are coming out, and if I'm not mistaken, here comes the Lurker aspect. So let's go! And that's very ballsy natural, supported by a lot of Marines. And if this Lurker thing gets going, and... oh, there we go, here comes the Lurker thing. You might need detection pretty quickly. And the only thing that will stop Kezia now, I fear, is that if it will build another 20 evos without any combat units. So eventually, by bad micro, these lurkers... ooh, that was a really ugly lurker spread. And these Marines have run for the hills, run for your lives. But with this many, we've got 3 lurkers already. And they are also in range of the SCVs. And you can just see how much damage is being done. And that is why if you spot a hive with a lair with a Hydra den early, you need detection immediately. Turrets, Academy, both, whatever, Spider-Mine, just do something. And now this is the position where KZBot got stuck, because 3 lurkers okay, but as you can see, these SCVs are repairing the command center, which is, well, 1 more SCV wouldn't hurt, because it's just on. Now 3 SCVs can repair this command center, and KZBot would at this point normally overdo it on Evo chambers and expansions, and I see no more combat units being built, so it may be still stuck on its original sin. We see bases being taken, minerals being mined, no more combat units, but we see no Evo chambers, so that's a good sign, I'd say. And what's going to happen eventually is that Terran will get some kind of tech, either spider mines or scans or tanks or turrets or perhaps science vessels, and run away with this game. And oh god. Here we go. Base is taken, minerals being mined. Not so many minerals in the bank, but the first Evo chamber is there, and if I'm not very much mistaken, the second one has just finished, and that's very unfortunate. The command center is being repaired, but Terran has got excess economy, and here comes the engineering bay, thus the ability to build turrets. And these marines can't get anything done. And this turret, oh god, this prioritization is not good. And the turret is going to, yeah, there we go. And they just keep targeting the command center. That's very bad. And now Bot is at 0 army supply. He's got a lot of bases and is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then now the game will be how many Sunkens Evos can it build before it gets killed. That must be 2 more. And I really don't know what that's about. And that Sunken is pretty well placed, but that's just too many marines, and you need at least 10 Sunkens to stop this kind of play. And Purple Spirit taking another base, building an academy. We'll have comsats soon too. Yep, and the moment it finishes, 2 pop up. And this is the natural of, oh god, no! No, well, this is perfect placement of Evo chambers with space in between to move, but it's not really working, is it? GG! Oh, and it must be Alien Night tonight. But I'd like to see how Thomas Vida, the carrier bot, is stacking up against new guys. And Alien's got pretty good anti-air build, so I'd say let's have a game. So, cannons up for fast expand by Xim, the original. Pretty well done. More bases being built, more Zerglings being built, and of course there is a timing where you can run down these cannons. At this point you can just attack them and support them with all your hatcheries, try to get it done, and even if there are 2 more, there is always a point where you can outfight these cannons. So as you can see, more Zerglings come up, so perhaps that will be the tactic of Alien in this game, just build a lot of Zerglings, overrun these cannons. The problem will be when the first carrier is out, then you're going to lose Zerglings for nothing. The first Stargates are up already, and there is a Hydra. I'm going to slow down just a notch, because Hydra is for Alien as well. Keeping tabs on the bases, keeping an Overlord here, that's pretty well done. And I must say I like the scouting of Alien, because it's got such good map awareness. It's got units everywhere, and one here to ensure that Xim's not taking a 3rd base might be great. At this point it gets hairy, because you are taking such a lot of fire from the cannons in the rear if you're attacking these ones. So there is a point at 2 or 4 cannons where you can overrun it. If you're a Terran, you can do it with siege tanks, because Xim's taking an awful long time to get up its fleet beacon and produce the first carrier. It's going to come eventually, but by that time you can have a lot of bases and a lot of units, and I think Alien is going for 3 bases and some kind of push. And Xim just adding a couple of cannons, might add some here as well to range down these Zerglings, and that's just beautifully placed. 4th base being taken by Alien. Alien tech-wise not overdoing it, going I believe for a hive, but the problem is that by now these Stargates are flashing, and the fleet beacon is there. Here, oh, there is a lurker upgrade. There is the interceptor upgrade, +1 weapons being started. Zerg's got some upgrades as well. But you really got to do something, because at the time where 4 carriers start pounding this base, you will lose a base, a couple of workers, and then all your units will need to decide, well, either attack the cannon wall or come and help defend. And you've got to do 2 things at once, which is hard for anyone, and especially for an AI. And this is an AI, it's in a name, Alien. Haha. So that was pretty clever of me. And now the first carrier is out, and Xim is going to take its first journey. Alien's got a lot of units, but it should really use them. It can't really sit back this long. Good thing is that Xim can't get out, And here come the first 4 carriers. They're going to take the long way round, and they managed to sneak out a probe up till here. Oh, through here perhaps. Yeah, well, that's pretty well done. And another base for Alien. So Alien's got a lot of bases, which will buy it a lot of time if these carriers start attacking first the Overlord. But Alien will have to. You will have to do something, man. It's you can't sit. But if you're going to sit back longer than Ximp, you really have issues. You need a lot of spores, a lot of anti-air, and now it will see the carriers. The question is, what will it will cancel the hatchery. That's good, but what will it do? Please, for the love of God, do something. It's got a great Aspires. It hasn't got a single air unit. It's got a lot of money. Well, you would say it have a lot of money, but it's not really doing anything. And the first base is down. And here comes an Overlord, and the second base will be down as well. And now the Mutas will... Oh, there has been a Muta switch, and then Ximp will switch to Corsairs, which is good for the short run. But this is going to be another base, so you lose 2 bases, and this base is pretty important because it's mining, it's providing income. This army is doing fuck all, and just dying a lot to cannons, which is bad. And these Corsairs are flapping about, but you're not getting anything done. And a small Muta contingent and a few Hydras are mulling about between killing carriers and dealing with these Corsairs. So that is... Oh God! Fire! Kill him! Please! Okay, well that didn't work. Perhaps I shouldn't scream at units telling them what to do, because it's not going to work anyway. So Ximp is on 3 bases. This army has been doing damn all the entire game. And this base is going to be hit by carriers soon. So Zerg has got a good army, but it's doing damn all. It hasn't done anything. And this base is going to be torn down, which will reduce the Zerg to 3 bases. Then you've got a 3 versus 3 base situation on your hand. And they're moving back again. Oh, what the bloody hell is that about? It's so frustrating to see this beautiful, elegant idea of Thomas Vader's being such a force in Brute War AI, because it's so hard to deal with that. It's really, really beyond me how hard it is to just do something. Just decide on something. Just do something, please. And not just mull about all the time. That's a lot of Hydras. Just go in there and kill something, an interceptor, a carrier, anything. Because by now there will be... What's Ximp doing is building carriers again, has refrained from building more Corsairs because the Mutas aren't doing anything anyway. Oh, they found an observer. Oh, that's great, that's grand. The Hydras are refusing to fight, they're on strike. The Mutas refuse to fight, they're on strike. And every hatchery and drone and Muta is just dying without ever having fired a shot in anger. And the observer count is being kept nice and low by these Mutas, but if you're going to spend 1,000 on Mutas, it would be nice if they were to do something. And this better be a Devourer with some balls, or else this game is going to be won by 4 carriers, and I'm going to be very disappointed. Charge! Attack! Go! Nope. This is quite beyond me. This is quite beyond me. This army could run down the cannons, or at least try to do something about this, run down the 3rd. This army could take down 4 carriers, especially if you add these 40 Hydras which have already been killed for no reason at all. Sorry, don't get dark. The Mutas are hugging the Queen's Nest and dying, every single last one of them. Army supply of Alien. Well, Alien's producing units, that's not a problem. But the units are not attacking. They're not attacking here, they're not attacking here, and they're not attacking here. So if you've got 50, 60 army supply, which has been reduced 10 times by this time, and it's not attacking, you might just type GG at the start of the game and be done with it. Oh, sorry, Alien. Sorry, Xilmia. I know you're working hard, but this... I feel for the Zerg, and they are so lovely and cuddly and flappy, and I really hate them being demolished by these awful, nasty, mean carriers, which are having so much fun. So many kills. They are so sadistically evil, and they are just killing things left and right. Another fleet of carriers is coming up. Again, the Zerg army, and this is a large army. And especially if you see how many Zerglings are dying, you could have killed this. Or if there are 20 cannons, you could have killed them 20 times over, but just not done so. And oh, that's tough to watch for a Zerg man like me. And oh, we've got one more game. Oh god, good. Because if this were the end of this broadcast, it would really hurt me. And the carriers by now are too powerful, and Alien either taps out or leaves the game. So let's go into the last game, and I hope it's a good one. I'm not going to do any more because I've been going on way too long already, or way too long. The games have been good, so I can't complain there. But the cast has been going for rather a long time, and that's not really... oh god! Okay, well, there again. Sorry, that was the IDE, the Integrated Development Environment, which is not finished. But yeah, I'm supposed to do about an hour and a half at most, and not really do this long. I don't know how long I've been going actually, so that's something I'll have to find out. I hope it's not 4 hours. I really lose track of time if I'm watching beautiful games like these, and it's going to be Hannes Bradberg versus Brian Weber. And I saw Brian Weber do some interesting things earlier, and some bad things as well, but also the bad things were also interesting. So for a new bot, I think that's a very good score. And Hannes Bradberg, of course, is the nuke bot, so perhaps we are going to see some action as a nice grand finale of today's broadcast. Of course, we'll be awaiting the results of the AIIDE tournament, which will be announced later today, or will have been announced by the time you're watching this video, I hope. And I think the... oh no, I casted some videos for Dave, so but I can't really talk about who's going to win. I don't know it, but I can't talk about the top spots either, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave it up to Dave. And the Zerglings are going after the power generator. The power generators are having a bad day today. We saw Alien earlier getting stuck on the power generators, and Brian Weber hasn't learned that these are stacked, so you need to kill about 10 or 20 of them, which is going to take some doing, and all the Lynx in the meanwhile can't help defending versus these Marines. And that might be a little bit of a problem. Then again, the power generators might eventually die and give out. And now the Lynx are getting back into action, going to defend. No, they're going back again. And oh, well, sometimes you can select the damaged one. But the Marines are now strolling into the base, and here are the Zerglings. The Zerglings are coming off. That's good decision making. Would have been nice if there had been more, because all the Lings now filter in one at a time and they are dying, and that's unfortunate. And oh dear, well, let's get, if this game turns out bad, let's get one more really good game, because a lot of time has been spent already, and it would be a shame for this broadcast to go out like this, with Brian Weber getting stuck on these power generators. Oh, that's the last one. Oh, GG! The power generators are down, but there are 20 Marines advancing into your main base. And there you go. They now find the spawning pool. And the question will be, can Brian Weber rebuild? Because this base will not be long for this world. These are the last couple of Zerglings. A couple of drones are going to go down. And Bradberg going for tech. So perhaps we might see a nuke after all. That is, yeah, this egg is nicely surrounded. Nice concave. Very well done, sir. And this extractor will be done momentarily too. Oh, and this Marine will live. That's pretty lucky. Lucky bastard. Overlord's going to fall as well. And when the Overlord dies, I think they're all going to go after this drone. And now they're going to scatter. And I like this. If you look at the minimap, they try to reach an optimal distance from each other and try to scout out the map like this. It's like like viruses or like microbes, and now they've found an enemy, and you can see all the marines from all across the map are going to converge upon this one overlord, and as soon as it's dead and no unit is in range anymore, they start scattering again, and I really like that scouting algorithm. Question is, will nukes be in time? We've got a covert ops, we've got no command center left, we've got another overlord being found, but I fear that this base will be found before we see a nuke. And if I am not going to see a nuke, I will need something else, another big ugly macro game, a slaughterfest to oh yeah, there we go. And no, this base isn't going to finish. Look at all the marines. One lurker would have settled this. Oh no, it's a comsat, so wouldn't have settled this. But Brian Weber not up to deciding where to attack between a power generator and enemies, so that's going to cost you, and that will be the GG. Okay, so promise. Last game. Last game. What will we do? Well, let's have the number 1. And let's have him fight versus TSMU. So, one more game. Crazio versus TSMU. I don't know how it's going to play out. Both of these players can win. And by the file size, it's bound to be a good game. So, initial stages. Ha ha ha! That was pretty quick. 64 times the speed. Pretty well done. Crazio is defending versus the aggression of TSMU. And TSMU, having set up a minefield, is going for a sort of contain with a couple of vultures. Crazio with a higher tech. It also demonstrated that versus Iron. And of course, vultures beat marines and SCVs. And then again, because they're a medium unit, vultures don't do nearly as much damage to Goliaths. So Goliaths beat then vultures. And then you need tanks to build Goliaths, and then the game's afoot. And Goliaths with AI micro are pretty good. Look at how they micro down mines. That's pretty impressive. TSMU running from a single vulture. I don't know why, but the main action is going to be here. And even this tank would do well to keep clear of this mass of Goliaths, they're called. And Crazio with the army supply is not superior. Oh well, it's superior actually. It's the worker supply. But TSMU with the tank, and more tanks will be needed. TSMU attacking a little bit too hard. Crazio doing everything on one base. And the Wraiths are doing quite well against the Vultures, but the Vultures are so fast they are detracting the SCVs from helping to support the main fight. And that means that TSMU has gotten away with the natural and has gotten some tanks, and now can catch up on army supply. Crazio still on one base with the turret in the middle of the map. That I find good. But TSMU, I think, is in a decent position. These Vultures might eventually be picked off by the Wraiths, but then it will have gotten away with the quick expansion and have some expensive Terran mech units of its own. Army composition-wise, TSMU has got more Vultures, less Goliaths, more tanks, and no Wraiths at all, and some spider mines. So I think it's about equal, and Crazio will have to do something about macro soon. I don't know where these units are all going. It's really beyond me. That might be a little bit a costly mistake, because TSMU is just going to run away with the map and might also take a third base. And if you've got a 3 versus 1 base situation on your hand, you are in big trouble. And ooh, this Vulture nearly died. Took one shot. And these two Wraiths are doing okay. Is there a comset? There is no comset yet, so TSMU will be vulnerable. But then, of course, how many hit points will be lost to 2 Wraiths? And eventually, quite a few. There are 3 Wraiths, and oh, this one uncloaked, so that's unfortunate. So it's 2 Wraiths, and TSMU might either build a turret or get some scanning up. And these tanks are really covering a lot of ground, and Crazio will converge upon the TSMU's position if these tanks die. And TSMU is really being rather sloppy, I feel, with the scouting, with the detection. And that reflects because Crazio, being a base down and being about 15 workers down, is equal in supply, and is still doing damage with the Vulture. TSMU's got the minefield, has got the extra base, but can't really get the show on the road because there is no detection and the Wraiths are just too pesteringly annoying to allow for a TSMU map dominance. This Wraith coming in once again, cloaking, and getting pretty low, but TSMU catching this with the tank on the high ground and might really do with a couple of turrets, or oh, there comes the academy, and that's pretty late. And then you've got to wait for the SCVs to be finished, and you might lose another tank. Oh, during all this, 4 Wraiths, that's pretty good. TSMU's got a position up here, which is good, but might want to have some tanks here before... Oh! That's a lucky tank. That was a good mine hit. And these 3 Wraiths are really doing work. TSMU only now starting a comsat, and I feel that's rather late. Crazio behind an army supply, but the quality of the army is better, and TSMU has got some... Goliath hasn't got scans, and Crazio is just being obnoxious in the base of TSMU. Might go for the... If you were to snipe the science vessel, that would be brilliant. Instead they go for a factory, could have done a little bit of worker sniping too. And Crazio refraining from taking a natural expansion, that's pretty ballsy. TSMU, tank on the high ground, doing pretty well. Now it's got 1 comsat up, will have another soon, and might need some Goliaths too to keep this. Because there's only 3 Wraiths, they don't have much DPS, but the distracting force is so great. TSMU going for a 3rd, and no matter what Crazio does with the Wraiths, if that 3rd gets built, the game will be over, because Crazio is... How can you do this at 1 base in a TVT? That's borderline ballsy. That's really... TSMU's got the tank on the high ground, has now got the Valkyrie and the science vessel, so I think that the Wraith threat will be neutralized relatively soon. Ooh, the tank will die, and Crazio might get a position on the choke of TSMU with all the production and the natural in it, and that might be really unfortunate for TSMU. TSMU taking 3 bases at once, refusing to build any turret, and this Valkyrie is not receiving the support from the science vessel it should. Science vessel is much more intent on building. Ooh, and that's a nice long shot by this Valkyrie. These Valkyries are really making... Wow, and Crazio will have to do something with this push, but because there is a Vulture here, the reinforcements get stuck, and now it's a 3 versus 1 base operation. Crazio taking another base, but TSMU is starting the 4th. The Wraith harass has been stopped. The science vessel is out there, and I feel with the Valkyries TSMU will have superior air reconnaissance, and although Crazio's got a good position and another Wraith is arriving, I doubt that this might take down the science vessel. That might be good. Question though is, where are the Valkyries? Valkyries are here, they're keeping the distance from the Goliath and are now being drawn closer and closer to this Wraith. TSMU low on the tank count, not really repairing them as well as Crazio is, but Crazio's only got 2 more tanks, and although the natural is up, there is a turret here, but this will quickly get out of control because it's 60 versus 28 workers, and TSMU is already doubling Crazio in army supply. So these tanks are really going to have to do a lot of damage. They lack the vision because the buildings are retreating, and now these tanks, what the bloody hell are these doing? They are taking the field, they're slipping out for some reason and just ignoring these 3 siege tanks. That could be costly, but these floating buildings, they should be back. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And a Wraith versus 2 Valkyries, that would be an interesting battle. TSMU could do with a little bit of wraithing itself, because these tanks could be easily cleaned up. Oh, these 3 tanks, this 1 tank, and the last one is... Well, this is going to fight? Surely not. That's very brave. Scan goes off. TSMU's got the cannons. And boom! There it goes. The container's broken. Crazio has taken a 3rd, setting up shop at the natural defense, but it's a 53 versus 18 army supply, and TSMU taking a 5th base with more bases, more buildings. And I really must say that I like these last couple of updates of the TSMU bots, because TSMU is such a monster, and it's such a sight to see it play versus the #1 bot. And if it can do this to the #1, I wonder why it's not up there with the... Between Iron and Crazio, what's it losing to? Is Iron the bane of TSMU? I'm not going to do a TC move versus Iron game. I'm just not going to. This cast has been going on way too long. And although the games have been very beautiful, and this is a beautiful last game, but TSMU is just going to run away with his 4 Valkyries and any kind of air support. Crazio's got a nice number of tanks, but there are just no supporting units. And this one's very brave, and it dies. Crazio's got the high ground. TSMU would have loved to have some battle cruisers, have something at his side, taking another base. Are we going to see nukes? No, we can't see starports, so perhaps some kind of battle cruisers or wraith switch. This one is flashing, that one's building as well. We've got, oh dear, we've got a physics lab, so we might see science vessels, battle cruisers. That was almost correct. We've got cloak, and we've got the +1 weapons, air weapons being started for Crazio. No specialized upgrades for air or battle cruisers being started yet, so don't think we are going to see so much special forces things going on. And Crazio being pushed back. The air cover is way behind. TSMU's got the Valkyries and the science vessels overhead. Got the superior tank forces. No repairs, that's interesting. And a small fleet of vultures over here. Crazio's got a wild tank and a wild wraith, and they don't really want to have anything to do with each other. The Valkyrie now gets the scan, and which one? Oh, I think that the Valkyrie will win this hands down. Yep, there it goes. And this tank has been neutralized as well. So I think with the last game wrapping up, I'm going to speed it up just a notch, because Crazio cannot mount the defense anymore. The main is out, the natural is heavily oversaturated, TSMU is nearly maxed, going to go to war with the battlecruiser, and the battlecruiser is going to fire a couple of shots perhaps. TSMU is a little bit hesitant in engaging this tank line. Everything that moves beyond this tank line gets killed, but these 3-4 tanks have been there forever. And now the waiting is for the battlecruiser. And here comes the battlecruiser. What's it going to do? Look pretty. And there we go. The attack is on. TSMU is maxed. It's floating 6 and 1k. Crazio's under fire. The natural, of course, is up, but nothing else being produced from one base, but a couple of tanks and Goliaths, and that's just not enough. Got 3 battlecruisers. Will we have Yamato? Yep, we have. Will we see it though? Because that might be an easy way to break a Terran contain like this. Other way might be just to A move, because it's 120 versus 20 army supply, and you can just trade indefinitely if you've got the map. TSMU now pulling up the tanks. Crazio with a last ditch attempt. 2 tanks, couple of supporting units. Scan goes down. The battlecruisers are far in the rear. I don't know why. They've got Yamato. Da-da-da-dum. And they've got the energy, and they might just take down these tanks quickly, but TSMU being very slow about this. And now the battlecruiser leading the charge with the Yamato, going for the GG. This battlecruiser might actually die because the supporting units are being pussies. And yeah, there we go. TSMU with the bank, a little bit short on gas, but that's the game. So this was this week's Student StarCraft AI tournament. If you like what you see, come like us on Facebook, really, or subscribe to us on YouTube, because we dipped below 1500 supporters, and that's not good. I'd like to have that back. And you can watch at our website address at the lower right. You can watch these bots play 24/7. You can install the Brute War API and play against these bots, or code these bots yourself. This time I say thank you for watching, and GG to all the bot coders and bots themselves which are featured in this week's broadcast. For this game I say GG to TSMU, and see you again next week. Goodbye!